Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily with Andrew Hustler Paterson and Michael Remis.
What is going on, everyone? Winnipeg, Manitoba. Great to speak with you all. Hope you had an awesome weekend. Welcome to a big Monday edition of Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. And it is a special day for myself, Michael, Connor, Liss, and the gang here at WST. Hard to believe, but 5 years ago, technically yesterday, was episode number 1 of WST. And here we are 5 years later, still having a blast like we were on that first show. And got a lot of great things to talk about today. We're going to bring in John Shannon. We'll also have Jeff Hamilton, one of our go-to guys from day one on the program. And Connor, of course, who's down covering Winnipeg Jet practice today, is going to join us a little later on. But just as we start off, I want to thank everyone that has consumed the podcast, joined us on YouTube Live, checked out YouTube afterwards, and of course, the sponsors that have been with us from the get-go. The Royal Sports, the Boston Pizza folks have been there since day one, and a huge group that came on shortly afterwards that has been riding with us ever since. So here's to 5 years. Thanks to everyone that has contributed to help us get to where we are today. And here's to many more. Speaking of those sponsors, just as I bring in Michael Remis, do want to thank our partners at CoolBet, who as well have been there since day one. I kind of was thinking about more the local guys, but what Pat and Jake have done and allowed us to do on this program will always be appreciative of. Of course, our friends at the Winnipeg Jets, the wonderful people at Princess Auto, Chud's Power Sports, Clean Line, Plumbing, Heating, and Electrical, St. Patel Dental Center, Dr. Terry and his crew, Rowley's Transfer, BP and Royal, as I mentioned, Little Brown Jug, who's been with us well over 4 years right now, the gang at Not Auto Corp, the Not Auto Corp Why Not question of the day, Uptown Alley, as well as our newest sponsors, Manitoba Building Trades and the Manitoba Federation of Labor. And of course, big shout out to Pitt and the gang over at Aikens Lake Wilderness Lodge. Really enjoying all the chats from everyone into there. And a big thanks. Look at the super chat from Ken. Happy 5th and a day. Thanks to the WST gang for bringing us all together. And listen, really appreciate all of the comments in there. Let's get my tag team partner out here, Michael Remis. And Remo, hard to believe, 5 years in, and we're here. We're fired up. We got lots to talk about today, but it was important just to note and throw out some thanks to help us get here right now. I'm not sure if you thought that we'd make it a year, never mind 5, when we did that first show, but the WST machine keeps on rolling, and I would argue better than ever, especially with the additions of Connor and Liss to the team.
It's been great having Connor and Liss here, and yeah, I thought, well, we'd do this for a couple weeks, and then I'd move on to something else, but we're still here 5 years later. I'm not on the floor anymore. I am at a real desk, so that is very exciting. So yeah, shout out to all the listeners, the super chats coming in. Adam Douglas says, been listening since day one, and it amazes me how many people do listen, and huge shout out to the sponsors as well. Some of them day one still with us, Royal Sports, Boston Pizza, but some for a long time, like Princess Auto, Little Brown Jug. So many of the new ones that have come on this year. It's been awesome. Rollies for a while. I mean, all of the sponsors as we go through. I know you'll shout them all out, so I don't want to forget anyone, but
well, I mean, the CoolBet guys particularly, and obviously, I mean, I had a relationship with them from the TSN, and I'll always remember getting that call the day that we got whacked. And it was Chris Abbott, who was Pat's boss at the time, called and said, Huss, this is a joke, but we love working with you. They made me an ambassador for CoolBet that day, which was also something as you were trying to build something new from scratch, gave me a lot of the security that, I'd be able to keep the lights on or whatever while we tried to build this thing. And the way that we've grown with our partners at Coolbet throughout into now, doing bigger and better things, adding more content, the ability to bring Connor on board. We have big time appreciation for them. And I have a big time appreciation for Coolbet because of it has been the best place for curling odds. And Remo, just before we dive into everything with the Winnipeg Jets and the latest surge by the local team coming out of the trade deadline, a huge congratulations to Matt Dunstone of Manitoba, a bridesmaid no longer, his first Brier championship last night out on the Rock in Newfoundland. He and Colton Lott, along with the Harden brothers, were absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to miss the Brier. My Coolbet account is going to miss the Brier. The Manitoba boys came through. Congrats to Braden Calvert, qualified for the playoffs. Matty Dunstone was top 2, so our little for the community bet came through, and then a couple of winners yesterday on the final. But what a great curling story. And now with Carrie Anderson as the Scotties champion, Matt Dunstone as the Brier champion, for the first time in a long time, both of our national championships are right here in the heart of the sport, Winnipeg, Manitoba, which, funny enough, there's a curling movie being recorded right now in Winnipeg. I saw Jason Kelsey was at the Forks on the weekend. So lots of curling talk, but Matt Dunstone and his team gets top billing today on the program.
Yeah, incredible. And Joe Pascucci pointing out that Matt Dunstone's, path to victory. Look at these people he had to beat. He took the hard route. Brad Gushue, 6-time Brier champ and a gold medalist. He had to beat Brad Jacobs, coming off an Olympic gold medalist, and 4-time Brier champ Kevin Cooey. That is, when you're playing like Mortal Kombat, you want easy, medium, hard, Huss. He took like super challenging route here to victory. So well-deserved. Awesome to see Manitoba on top of men's and women's curling for the national championships. As Huss, these super chats are really rolling in here.
Yeah. Adam Douglas, love the show since day one. Go Jets. Adam, thank you so much. Our guy, Coachy 51, congrats and great job, WST. Love the Jets coverage. Keep it going. Appreciate him. And the man himself. We got many legends in the chat. T-Will, certainly one of them. Happy 5th anniversary, Huss and Remo. Even if we aren't getting the suit show, we have been owed forever. You know what? Hey, we will do one. Maybe I'll
might have to now.
I'm just happy to be able to do the show today. I almost killed Remis at the end of the Friday's show. It was like 4 o'clock. We've been going since 11 a.m. with the trade deadline show. We still would not do the marbles. But listen, more of them coming in. The man himself, T. Konopoli, day one junkie here, mostly live, some post show. Wish I was well enough to attend more live events so I could clean up like that first ASD event. LOL, Manitoba. T. Kona, buddy, you are the man. And Jet Oil Tom, I've been listening since day one and don't know how I would survive without my WST and all the great friends I've met. Love to hear it, everyone. We appreciate you all. And I got to tell you, Reem, I did not have our 5th anniversary show on Monday, March the 9th as the date that we might have to seriously say to each other, are you saying there's a chance? Because I'm pretty sure that I'm looking at the NHL standings right now, and that double-digit deficit from a wild card spot has been cut in half. And as we go into a huge week at Canada Life Center with 4 games in 6 days, the Winnipeg Jets are somehow now just 5 points back of the final wild card in the West.
Yeah, and look, we've been tracking the odds on Money Puck, and mid-January it was like 3-point-something%. It was as low as 5% at the start of the Olympic break. But here we are on Money Puck, the Jets playoff odds 15%. And you look at the standings, you're 5 points back of Seattle. It looks like it's something that's doable. Now, they still have to win like just about every game here, but you look at the opponents coming up. Anaheim like they're first in the Pacific, but they got a -10 goal differential. Like I don't know how great they really are. And yeah, they played Vancouver and Chicago, but hey, they got the wins that they needed to. And who's ahead of him? Nashville, LA, San Jose. I think it's possible these guys go on a run. And I did tune into the Seattle-Ottawa game where Ottawa pumped Seattle on Saturday. San Jose lost in overtime to the Islanders. And scary moment there where, was it Barzal elbowed Celebrini in the head, and he seemed okay, but it just reminded me that, hey, if Celebrini gets injured, San Jose, they don't have a shot. So I think 20 games, anything can happen. The Jets can certainly, put a string, a couple in a row here. They're playing the Rangers a couple times. Schedule is doable, but they need to put it together and win. And you look at the Olympic break, points in every game, 4-0-2. And in the last 20 games, has 11-4-5, so only 4 regulation losses. They're getting, 2 overtime and getting that point. So we'll see if they can put it together. What a miracle it would be if they could get into the playoffs. But I think ultimately they're going to end up where you thought they were going to be before the start of the season, which is like a wild card team or fringe playoff team. But, if things went a different way, you can think about the losing streak. The performance in 1-goal games, just a little thing here or there, how many more points they would have. It's crazy.
What's funny right now is that, and I can remember saying, as we got to the break and we were kind of doing the autopsy of how the season had gone so wrong. I mean, there's 2 things I guess 3. Number one, an 11-game losing streak. And that will absolutely deep six a season very quickly. And again, we look back at that, and it wasn't like they had quit. They weren't showing up. They were just making one play a game that was turning overtime games into regulation losses, or 2-goal leads into overtime games that they lost. It was. I'm not going to, I do believe they weren't as bad as their record was, but you are what your record is. So, that's why I think a lot of us, many, myself included, kind of felt like this is, and probably still is, a lost season. We're up to a 15% chance. But again, that 5 points, granted with 3 teams in the front, it's still very daunting. But they have come back. And now coming out of the break, it was the other thing, they never got to overtime. Well, they've gone to OT in 5 of their last 6 games. And the one game that they didn't go to overtime was the toughest matchup of them all, of the Tampa Bay Lightning, which was the big win on Thursday. So who knows? I think that there was a lot of happy Jet fans on Friday that the team made the deal that they made, or the deals that they made. And we're going to get to Buffalo and Tampa in a minute. We're definitely not going to miss out on that. And, you've got a young player in Rosen. We'll talk about his, kind of debut in the game on Saturday night. They did what was right for the franchise moving forward. But I'll tell you what, if this group starts getting a little bit of momentum and starts believing in themselves that this is possible, crazier things have happened. And that's why we love sports. So this week, it'll be interesting. We should play this a week from today, on the 16th, on Monday, after the Jets host the Ducks, the Rangers, the Avalanche, and the Blues. And we'll see what happens elsewhere, and whether we're still having, I said, I'm not even sure this is a realistic conversation about playoffs right now. I'll say this, though. It's a heck of a lot more interesting than it was when the team was 10 points back. 20 games left in the season. By my count, Reem, I think it's going to take 30 points. Like if you go 15-5, or a combination of 13-3-4. I think that probably would get it done. Now, of the last 20 games, there's 3 against the Colorado Avalanche. That's not ideal. But then you look at the other teams that, that they'll be getting. St. Louis, Nashville, who's just ahead of them. Big game in Seattle. Coming up, I don't even know who. I guess we're going to be cheering for Nashville. Definitely not a 3-point game in that one. The Rangers, who are terrible this year. I mean, we got them twice in the next 2 weeks. The Ducks, as you mentioned. And then a bunch of other teams that are like not world beaters, but are good in Boston and Pittsburgh. Vegas, who's really struggled as of late. You got another one against Chicago. And then road games in April against Dallas, Columbus, St. Louis, Vegas, and Utah, along with a home game against Seattle. And who knows? I mean, Monday, April 6th, that's a game, that's a prime game that originally I think was thought to be a bit of a write-off. That could be massive if the Jets are within striking distance, and then Philly and San Jose. So they've done the job coming out of the break, and now it's time to keep on going. There's another one. Happy 5th. Thank you for all the hard work. Appreciate that from Gene Blast. And then who's this? Darth Skater. Booked a parade. I don't know whether there'll be a parade. They don't put parades on just for making the playoffs, but it would feel pretty incredible if they were able to do it. And even just having, like, I think for players like Rosen, be great to be in really important games going down the stretch. Just keeping tabs with all of these super chats. You guys, you're so generous.
Yeah, I will say, Huss, one thing about all the super chats is, you see comments from like Les and Jet Oil Tom and and Tristan, like the community that we've built, with number of meetups, a lot of friendships being formed, and people, who may not have known each other before Winnipeg Sports Talk, planning outings together. We do have the Discord as well, where people are just talking all the time. We gave away Moose tickets Friday. Bardot won, regular listener, and she took a bunch of other listeners and people from the community. So I think that's one thing that is super cool that has happened, that I don't think you have that community experience in the previous medium that we were a part of. So this has been, it's been pretty cool to grow this thing for 5 years, just on social media as well. Like we got, 7,000 Instagram, Facebook, we've got almost 14,000 subscribers here on YouTube, people listening every day. And even if you're not listening every day, people may tune in, for special events like the trade deadline, or the Canada Olympics was big, or playoffs. But yeah, exciting. The Jets season overall pretty disappointing. Odds are they won't make the playoffs. And I see people in chat like mad that they're winning because, they're, we're on pace for the top draft. I don't think they were ever that bad as like Vancouver or even the Rangers. Now, like they were never that bad. So I think it's kind of balancing out towards what you thought they were. Disappointing, they couldn't pull out some points in those overtime games. But this is more intriguing and more fun than that losing streak, man. Was maybe the most depressing. It was horrible.
Yeah, when you consider the expectations and what that this team and a lot of the players were capable of, that was misery, like right through December and the holidays and the start of January. You just couldn't believe it. But the wins were going to come, and regardless of whether this team, this could just be a conversation for today, and you'll lose the next two, and we're not having this. That's the thing. You have to keep it running week after week after week. But listen, you get hot at the right time. Waiters has just declared Colorado the 2023 Boston Bruins. So they're waiting for it. Stickman, thanks a lot. Happy 5th birthday, WST. Appreciate you. The mushy middle is, there's teams that are going to be there. And as I say, I don't know what anyone suggested they were supposed to do. Bench Scheifele and Connor and Josh Morrissey and Connor Hellebuck. They've got a very good core here. The issue really had been that they hadn't gotten a lot of secondary scoring, and there'd been some issues with the defensive play at times. And I'm not saying that's all fixed, far from it. But, you find a way to win games, you stay in it. And as they say, it's a lottery anyways. The Islanders finished 10th last year, and they got Matthew Schaefer. So you got to have some luck come the lottery balls as well.
I'll say, you mentioned Mark Scheifele. We should give him a shout out. As he was named the NHL's first star of the week. What a week he had. 3 goals, 5 assists, 8 points in the 3 games, 2 game-winning goals, including assisting on the Perfetti tying goal against Chicago. And he's on pace for over 100 points. Like, the one overall, like, the season has been disappointing for the Jets, but personally for Mark Scheifele, Kyle Connor, exceptional numbers. Logan Stanley not on the team anymore, but that was a big story that we were talking about, his emergence as a threat, scoring double-digit goals here. So there, Velarde's what an amazing goal that was on Saturday. He's having a career too and staying healthy. So there are some bright spots in what overall has been pretty disappointing.
Yeah, well, and listen, while we're giving out congratulations, I mean, obviously, Scheif on being the first star of the week, we got to give it to the man himself, Josh Morrissey, who, with the OT winner on Saturday night, ended up becoming the all-time leader for defense scoring with the Winnipeg Jets. So, I mean, I don't know where we want to start with Josh about his importance to this team, this organization, since signing his 8-year extension. And he's another guy that I think the team will do everything they can to keep him as a Jet for life. It was a phenomenal night on Saturday at the building. I gotta say, the crowd was great. They gave out those cowboy hats for the country night at the start, and it was like people were. I'll have to talk to my friends in concessions over it. I have a feeling they sold a lot of beer on Saturday night. And listen, I thought the team played well. Lankinen, was sort of a thorn in their side. But yeah, you mentioned that Gabriel Velarde, that was so filthy. He got the tying goal to make sure they got the point. And it just seemed like it was sort of a matter of time. And then there it was, 55-44 for the winner. And everyone was sent home happy from the building.
It's funny. I ran into Brody Jackson yesterday. He mentioned how jumping it was with the cowboy hats, the excitement, and he's on the Jumbotron hosting, and he's like, I had to make sure people weren't trying to steal mine. He's like standing there, people are trying to take it off his head. Very hot item, those cowboy hats, and it's a hoser night on Saturday or afternoon. I gotta make sure I go early for one of those trapper hats. And is tomorrow après ski with the goggle giveaway? They moved it.
Oh yeah, that did get moved to one of those to one of the games.
Let me yes, après ski is tomorrow for the goggles. So I wonder how that's going to look on TV if everyone's going to be wearing ski goggles during the game.
You'll have to put yours on for tomorrow because remember we had them to promo it beforehand. Yes. Still got to grab mine from you. But anyways, yeah, and those hats were really nice. I got there a little late, so I wasn't one of the first 5,000 fans, but did get the hands on some, and I mean it was a real quality giveaway item that they put out. People were loving them, and they look great in the building as well. All right, we've got more. Let's quickly do a quick break from our sponsors. I want to shout out our newest sponsors, Manitoba Building Trades and the Manitoba Federation of Labor, and then we'll come back and tee up a visit from John Shannon from 100% Hockey.
Hey, Bob, you hear the news?
I can't listen to the news, Daryl.
This is different.
Oh, it's so negative.
Not this time. Manitoba's got these new jobs agreements. And when the government builds things like new schools and hospitals, they'll hire Manitoba workers first.
Really?
Creating good jobs with union standards and more apprenticeships for Manitobans. And we'll get rid of those out-of-province license plates on job sites.
Keeping our money working for Manitobans, eh?
You betcha.
Well, that's how it should work.
I knew you'd like it.
A message from Manitoba's Building Trades and Federation of Labor.
Got a little chilly the last couple days when it is cold. Actually, anytime. If you're looking to go out for a great time, maybe get away from hockey, your sour taste about the Olympics, Uptown Alley, a great spot to do that. No place you'll have more fun than Uptown Alley with your gang, with 5 and 10 pin bowling, laser tag, a state-of-the-art arcade, and amazing food and beverage options. If you're just going out there to have a good time or you want to plan a group or corporate event, best place for birthday parties for kids, teens, or adults. And of course, if you want to do an event there, you basically just let them know your numbers. what activities you want to do, what you want to eat, any add-ons, and the friendly staff at Uptown will take care of all the rest. Find out more on booking your next event at Uptown Alley at 488-0000 or check them out online at uptownalley.ca. If you've got a move coming up into the spring and summer, holler at the gang over at Roley's Transfer, a great supporter of Winnipeg Sports Talk. Of course, Roley's is family-owned and operator for over 60 years and the most trusted name in moving in Manitoba. If you check out their website at roleys.com, top right corner, you'll click on Request an Estimate. Use that promo code WST for a special discount on moving services and moving supplies, and then let them know when and where you're moving and what needs to go, and their friendly staff will turn it around quickly with a great quote and get you locked in for the white glove treatment and service that they've been famous for now into their 7th decade. Roley's Transfer, the most trusted name in the moving game. Find out more today and plan ahead at roleys.com. And just before we bring in Brandon, got to shout out Dr. Terry and the great people over at St. Vital Dental Center. It's not the most glamorous thing or the thing you're looking most forward to, but I can tell you it's always nice seeing the great people at St. Vital Dental Center. And they've been taking care of generations of Winnipeggers and Manitobans for all their dental needs, handling clients from 6 months to 99 plus with the full array of dental services, from cleanings and checkups to surgeries like dental implants. They do it all. Check them out online at stvitaldental.ca. You can make an appointment online to pop by and see Dr. Terry and his great staff. New spot, 167 St. Anne's Road, convenient free parking right behind the building. Big thanks for the support from the St. Vital Dental Center. All right, so we are about to bring in John Shannon, but just to wrap, again, thank you for all these super chats that have come in from everyone on the big day. 5-year anniversary for us. Who would have thunk it? And Remo, just before we bring in John, I think the one thing we forgot to do right out of the gate is raise the banner. Raise it. There it is. 5 years of Winnipeg Sports Talk. So thanks to everyone, all of our sponsors, everyone that enjoys the show. We are grateful for it all and look forward to many more. Now, Mandy, we have a lot to get to with John Shannon right now. Obviously, the latest with the Jets, but the aftermath of the trade deadline, and honestly, an all-time game in the NHL yesterday in Buffalo, New York, which we got to get to. Let's bring in the host of 100% Hockey, along with Darren Millard. Must listen, folks. I can't get enough of the show. It was incredible. Like some of the legends that John's had on, Scotty Bowman, Hitch, and whatnot. Man, it's well worth it. Get it wherever you get your favorite pods, like Winnipeg Sports Talk. Here he is. John Shannon joins us now. John, thanks so much for doing this. How are you?
I'm great, and boy, I'm honored to be on the 5-year anniversary show. That's a special day. Congratulations! You know, in the world we live in, Andrew, you know, it's I hate to say it's a thing called evolve or die, and you guys have done a great job of evolving.
Well, I really appreciate it, John, and you hit the big boys for our 5 anniversary show. There's so much to talk about, and obviously you in particular, and so many of our guests. Actually, it goes without saying. Having time for the people of Winnipeg and us on here, we greatly appreciate it. And John, we've had plenty of
just
great.
A minute, Andrew. Was I on before Lawless though? Was I on before Lawless?
Well, Gary, in fact, was on. No, not today. Like Gary was on, I think, the first ever show, giving us a hard time. But Gary, I think was he'll always have the day one show. He did definitely come on, and he's obviously been a big supporter of ours. We still connect. He's got some issues with his Golden Knights right now, which we can maybe get to in a minute. But I think about all of our conversations through the year, and particularly through December, as things got worse, and you realize, like, how the heck is this happening? And then 11 games to the point where, I mean, pretty much I know myself had written the season off. And now all of a sudden we're getting into March, and this team is going to be playing meaningful games going down the stretch, John. I mean, what do you make of we'll put it, I don't even know if we want to call it a huge turnaround. They've just found ways to get points out of the break, and here we are. They're 5 back as we go into this week with 4 games at home.
the first time in 30 games that they're at NHL 500.
Yeah.
So it has been a struggle for this hockey club to get to this point. Obviously, this 8-game homestand is vital to everything that they do. At the same time, when you look at the numbers, 20 games to go, they have 62 points. So 20 games in theory to get, 32 points maybe? They have to get to 94, I think, Andrew, to get into the playoffs. So that's 32 points in 20 games. Now you do the math. That's
16-4.
16 and 4. It's going to be a struggle. Now, if they sweep the homestand, you might be able to get me back on the bandwagon, but it's a really tough road right now for the Jets. And give them credit. You're right. Since the Olympic break, they have scored points where I think that a lot of people have been surprised. The team is playing better, and it's a good story right now, but I'm not sure how long it's going to last.
Yeah, I mean, it's after just how down I think the fan base has been, and I mean, for obvious reasons, and I think everyone in the organization, based on what the expectations and the hopes were going into this year, winning is fun. I mean, and getting some good results, and the funny thing is, I mean, they've been squeaking by these overtime games against Chicago and Vancouver, and then. I don't know what was up with that Tampa team that was here on Thursday, but I mean, that was a complete game. And we've seen that a few times this year from the Jets, put it all together and get a great result against a good team. But it just makes you lament many of those points left on the table earlier this year. But I will say this, despite the fact that they had won a few games going into Friday, the team and the general manager made some tough decisions to move on, in particular from Logan Stanley, who had become a real fan favorite for a good portion of the team and having a career year. What did you think about what the Jets did and didn't do in and around the deadline, John?
Well, first of all, the Tampa. I think a lot of it stems from games like the Tampa game.
Yeah.
Because we saw that game played a lot last year. We did. We saw it a ton when they were the best team in the regular season. So you want to know why that can't happen more often. Now we can talk about Tampa in a second because I know you love the Buffalo game. Tampa's another story that needs to be discussed. So being able to get some level of return for the two guys, and obviously Logan Stanley was going to cost them more in the long run. So you better go and find something for him. Rosen and Bryson, and the picks, I guess, make sense. I had not seen Rosen play, let alone know how to pronounce his name until Saturday. Bryson I had seen a couple of times, so it's difficult to judge what they got back in the short term. So from that perspective, I guess Kevin did what he had to do. I still think that there needs to be some level of surgery on this club, perhaps in the summertime. Perhaps they need to look at the core and say, okay, who in the core can get us the best return? And I'm not saying a lot, but who on this team can they get rid of to get something in return to help the next 3 or 4 years? Now, they have some young guys coming. We know that. But at the same time, their prospect pool has not returned as much as people had wanted to, particularly when it comes to forwards, right?
Yep.
And that's an issue for Winnipeg. They need to be able to find a way to get more depth in the forward area.
Yeah, I mean, that I think is maybe the biggest concern organizationally right now, is that the players that you had hoped would be in a position that Rosen is now in from Buffalo coming in here would have kind of jumped in. And Brad Lambert's going to get a run right now. It's been a quiet year, getting used to the pro level for Colby Barlow, less so for Braden Yeager, but probably more in that category. And let's face it, I mean, if the Jets are going to get to the place where they want to be, where they can truly compete with the other teams just in their division, never mind the rest of the league, at some point, John, you have to solve the second line center issue. And it's not unique to Winnipeg. And part of the reason why, I remember we were talking at the beginning of the season that there's 20 teams in the league that are looking to upgrade their second line center. That is going to be, I think, number one on the list for Kevin Cheveldayoff. And as they say, being Winnipeg with free agency and whatnot, it's easier said than done than just snapping your fingers and making that happen. And that's why it could amount to more surgery on the roster, as you mentioned. But to get that, you have to pay a pretty significant price.
Well, and the line of attack that this club has had in rewarding players for staying, you look after me, I'll look after you, is admirable. It is. It's admirable. And the Hellebucks, the Connors, the Scheifeleys, the Lowrys, Morrisseys have been very loyal and have done an excellent job, and the club's been very loyal to them. And it's a really, really good relationship. It really is. But what have you won? What have you won? And the answer is not enough. So, and by the way, I am not espousing any of the guys that I mentioned to get rid of them, but I think there are other people that they should be looking at to say we can get a pretty good return for them, and in the summertime, and see what happens, because this group, and I think we learned this year, can look old quickly at times and look slow quickly at times. And so the cutthroat world that Kevin and Mark live in sometimes says you have to be and make tough decisions with your friends. And that day is coming for Winnipeg. It is. That day is coming. The question is, when is it coming? Is it going to come this summer? Is it going to come next summer? How much slack do you give this group of players to prove that this year was the outlier and last year was the real deal?
John Shannon with us. Check out the podcast 100% Hockey. We'll see. I liked what I saw from Rosen. I mean, it's tough to, first game, you're coming in.
Not for 11 minutes.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, for a guy that is, and this is part of the issue with the roster right now, you want to put a guy like that into a position to succeed. And Cheveldayoff said that he will get opportunities with the top six. Playing with Taves and Nyquist right off the bat was I guess a way to kind of bring him into the lineup. But I think that if you're going to get what you're hoping to get out of Rosen, you're probably looking at him playing with different players. But I will say this, loved his speed. I thought he made some great passes quickly. It was funny with him, and Murat, I think, did a tweet on this. It was funny with him wearing 27 and going offside on that one play when Scheifele had the puck. Reminded us of Nikolai Ehlers, who had that issue with Scheif a few times playing with him. But overall, this is a young guy that has done everything he can do at the American Hockey League level, scored at a very good pace, 3 straight All-Star appearances. And for him, coming over from Buffalo, where they've had so many high picks over the years, he's in a spot where they need him to be a top 6 player at some point in the next year. And I think the opportunity will do well. I mean, as a player, that's what you have to hope for. Now it's up to him to make the most of the opportunity in his new home. Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. And let's face it, a year from now, 2 years from now, when we look back at this trade, Rosen is going to have to be the key to the success of the trade, in my opinion. If he's contributing to the level that they expect him to, people are going to say is what a steal it was.
Luke Shen, and God bless Luke Shen. Luke Shen didn't have a future in Winnipeg. And if Logan Stanley's too expensive, then they made the right decision. And by the way, the only reason that Logan Stanley and Luke Shen ended up being Buffalo Sabres and therefore Isak Rosen ended up coming to Winnipeg is because Colton Parayko said no.
Yeah, I was joking, John.
So if Rosen's a success, somebody should go and say, Colton, thank you very much.
Well, it's so funny. I mean, we talk so much about these no trades. I think this might be the first time that Winnipeg ever benefited from a no trade clause. Usually,
that's right.
Usually it's like, oh, I can't get this done because of it. This happened because of Colton Parayko. So, hey, we'll take it. Nice to be on the other side of it for a little while. Listen, while we're talking about the trade, I mean, let's get to this game yesterday. And the Buffalo Sabres, who are, to me, the best story in the NHL this year. I mean, there's a few other great ones, Macklin Celebrini and whatnot. But if you had told me that when they were 11-14-2, dead last in the East towards the end of November, that you would roll up the standings on March 9th and see the Buffalo Sabres in first place in their division, I would have said that is impossible. But John, since December 1st, they have been the best team in the National Hockey League, and it's not really close. There's a big gap before you get to number 2 with Colorado with their points percentage and what they've done. And I got to tell you, watching some of that game last night, that was the most electric regular season game. I know we kind of live in the moment and think like we could go another decade before seeing another game like that in the regular season. I mean, there's a little bit of magic happening. And the fact that Stanley and Shen couldn't play in that game, Stan did media after the first period at the game. Like what a Tampa Buffalo series would look like for a best of 7 in a month or two. Oh my God, that was absolutely bananas.
I thought yesterday from 2:00 Eastern time until midnight was the best night of hockey in the National Hockey League this season. If you wanted to come out of the Olympics and the speed of the Olympics and you said, we need, gripping hockey, we need a gripping day of hockey, you had it yesterday. When you consider that the first game of the day was Colorado versus Minnesota, which is going to be a heavyweight fight. When you had the Boston Bruins take a 3-0 lead and Pittsburgh come back and beat them 5-4. You talked about the Buffalo-Tampa game, and then it finished with Edmonton and Vegas. It was there, and the other games were good too, but those 4 games, the quadruple header that was on in my house, my wife actually said I needed a name tag when I came up at midnight because she hadn't recognized me. So you took those 4 games, and every game had drama. Every game had great plays. Every game was physical. The storylines in all the games was just fantastic. It was a great advertisement for the NHL game and for the game of hockey on its own. And I think we're going to see another 6 weeks of it too. I think that we are going to see some great playoff races and some great hockey as guys vie for positions and try to fight their way in. By the way, if I had told you, Andrew, that maybe the most important game of the season for the Winnipeg Jets is going to be April the 6th. Don't look.
Monday night.
April the 6th against the Seattle Kraken.
Yeah, John, I'm with you. We were kind of going through the final 20 games in the opening just to listen, they got 3 games against Colorado, only 1 at home. That's this Saturday. We know how difficult that is going to be. I mean, they clearly are the team to beat, if you ask me. While we mentioned Colorado for a second, I've got to ask you just thoughts on what they did at the deadline. And John, you're so dialed in. Explain to me how Nazem Kadri gets traded an hour after the deadline. Like, that was just so bizarre. We thought we're all done. And then all of a sudden, what? Kadri going to the Avs?
All they need to do before 3:00 is timestamp the email saying we have a trade agreed to. So whether that was the guys in Calgary, whether it was Brad Pascal or Craig or Chris McFarland or one of his henchmen, send an email to Central Registry to say we have agreed to a trade in principle. As long as it was timestamped before 3 p.m. Eastern time, it will get revisited. So in all my time, I always remember when I was more worried about this kind of thing, and I was sitting on a desk at Sportsnet trying to figure out if I could have my friends return my calls on trades. I would always send a note to somebody at the league saying, "How many in the queue?" I would send it at 2:55. How many in the queue? We still have 10. We still have 10 trades in the queue. So that's how they got it. That's how they get around it. They had an agreement in principle, and therefore that allowed the guys at Central Registry to take their time, go through the contracts. And as you know, Andrew, what has happened in the past is they've had to do this and become much more buttoned down on trades because of situations between Ottawa and Vegas and the Dadonov trade and the no move and all this stuff, that they need to make sure that there's a clearinghouse that everybody gets treated fairly, the player and both teams.
Yeah, well, thoughts on Colorado? I mean, are they the team to beat? And now that we're post-deadline, when we look at the Central Division, I mean, we expect a first-round series between Dallas and Minnesota. Now that we know the way these teams are going to look post-deadline, assuming that the Colorado wins, who do you like them facing in that second round?
I still like Dallas. I really do. I still like Dallas. And that's not a knock at what Billy Guerin has done in Minnesota. They can strike fast. I mean, what can you say about Matt Boldy and what he's become, and what Quinn Hughes and how has changed the defense? Getting Jonas Brodin back is really important for the Wild. But if you look at yesterday, other than Colorado's power play, because the power play went 0 for 5, and I think they should be sending something to MIT to figure out why the power play is not working for the Avalanche, because it hasn't been good all year. Other than the power play, I thought Colorado was by far the better team. You know, that it's very subjective, but I can't see Minnesota over a series beating Colorado or Dallas. And one of the things, I think Colorado and Dallas can play more physical. I really do. And that's not to say that Minnesota won't be physical. They know that's why Nick Foligno's there. That's why Marcus can, when he gets back in the lineup, they're going to need that fourth line to be bangers. But in the end, I think with the talent, it's going to be how you manage the physical play. So if I'm Dallas and I'm Glenn Gulletts and I'm saying, okay, every time we can hit Quinn Hughes, we're hitting Quinn Hughes. We are just running them all game long. And so I think that will become a key issue in any series the Wild play.
I think the Central Division playoffs are going to look quite similar to that 7-gamer between the Jets and Blues last year, which was as physical a series as I can remember. It's like an arms race and everyone's loading up. But man, Colorado to get Roy and then Kadri on top of that. I mean, it makes sense. They're pushing their chips in right now. They do seem to be good. What are your thoughts on what's happening in the Pacific right now? And the Ducks are in first place.
It's all about goaltending and defense. It's all about goaltending and defense. Anaheim's, right now Anaheim's at the top of the division, but they can't defend. It must be driving Joel nuts that they just can't defend. That Vegas Edmonton game last night was two teams looking in the mirror saying, "How's your goaltender?" Both teams can score, but how's the goaltending? Is Tristan Jarry and Connor Ingram, are they the answer? And Aiden Hill, who won the Conn Smythe Trophy, is not Aiden Hill who won the Conn Smythe Trophy. Akira Schmidt's been the better goalie in Vegas. That's the problem in the Pacific Division. So those are I think there's only going to be 3 teams come out of the Pacific. I think those 3 teams are going to come out of the Pacific. I think the challenge will be now for San Jose and Seattle to hold on one way or the other, or try to get that second wild card spot. And they're going to end up playing Colorado. And you all remember what Darryl Sutter said.
Yeah.
8 wasted days playing,
That's about
so
it.
and that's, that's the downside of where the Jets are too, right? In so many ways, if you're going to put the pedal to the metal and you're going to go 16-4, you have to hope that Utah's going to have a hiccup, and perhaps you can get the number 1 wild card and you end up playing the Pacific Division leader.
Well, I will say this. If it is going to be 5 teams from the Central, that means it's either Nashville or Winnipeg. And Nashville is 2 points up on the Jets, and the Jets have a game in hand. I mean, if the Jets win their next game, they've caught Nashville, and they are where they are with 19 games remaining. So, we'll see how it goes. A couple other teams that I was a little surprised that didn't do more. I'm interested in your perspective on Montreal, who seem to have like a ton of options, assets, good young players. What did you make of them not making a move? And Carolina kind of surprisingly quiet, especially with the other presumed contenders that are not in. The East seems as wide open as ever. I kind of thought that Carolina might do a little more.
Well, let's address Montreal first, because I have a ton of time for Jeff Gorton. I don't know Kent Hughes, but I have a ton of time for Jeff Gorton. They have created a blueprint in Montreal. They have preached patience. They have built something that is good for the long term with their young players. When you look at who their young players are in this team, if they can afford to keep them all financially, and by the time some of these guys' contracts come up, the cap's going to be at a point where they can afford them. They have stuck to their plan, and you have to respect that they've stuck to the plan, and because they want to be great for a decade. They want to be successful for 10 years. They don't want to say, okay, we're going to mortgage the future right now and get rid of a couple of young guys and try to be better for 1 or 2 seasons. So I think Montreal is just being pragmatic. They don't want to give up on any of their young talent, and let's just see what they do. I have a difficult time questioning anything that has happened in Montreal.
Yeah,
even to the point where they've stayed the course. They have stayed the course better than any other team, I think, in the last 20 years in a rebuild. They really have. I mean, look, the best comparison, Andrew, over this same period of time is the Rangers. The Rangers are writing a second letter now in that same period of time that Montreal has stayed the course. And by the way, remember who wrote the first letter? Jeff Gorton in New York. And Jeff Gorton has learned his lesson. So that's all. I think they've done a marvelous job in Montreal. And if and when they solve their goaltending issue, which, I mean, I watched Dobish the other night. Dobish against LA, it looked really good. And then they've got young Fowler in Laval. I think Montreal is just doing the right way, staying the course. Let's not color outside the lines. Let's do it right. Carolina is an interesting one. They made a trade that I think could actually be important for them, because when they traded for Nick Delorier, they got exponentially tougher. Exponentially tougher, because they were never a tough team.
No,
they weren't. And all of a sudden now they've got somebody out there that is, going to patrol, and they needed a patroller. Just all you had to do was watch the Tampa Buffalo game yesterday to understand how playoff hockey is going to be played. Because that's all that was doing, was setting the stage for playing tough, robust hockey. And Nick Delorier, who is going to be, as you know, anywhere he goes, he's going to be a fan favorite in Carolina, and he's going to play a factor. Should they have gone and got somebody else? Yeah, they probably should have. But after trying Gensel, after trying Rantanen, after retrading Rantanen, maybe they were a little gun shy on that part of it. But I did actually like what they did, and of course they've got to hope that Brandon Bussey is the real deal.
Yeah, he's been off of it a little bit, but he's been a great story so far this year. The couple things that I was surprised were that Vince Trocheck didn't move. I thought Carolina or Minnesota were going to grab him. That didn't materialize. And speaking of goaltending, were you surprised that Binnington stayed put in St. Louis?
I guess I was.
But
where would he have? Tell me where he would have gone.
Well, first and foremost, I thought the Montreal Canadiens would have been a team that may have been interested in his services for one more year as they kind of get through that. Like, to me, the timing, the fit would have been good. But the other team that I was kind of expecting, watch, this is going to come up at 245 on the list, was Vegas. Vegas always seems to find a way to get things done. I don't think they've been pleased with their goaltending right now. And that's usually a team that, if anything, is over-aggressive. Like, they don't mind paying whatever price they do to get something that they feel that's going to get them into a situation that gives them a better chance to win. And, considering how wide open that Pacific Division is right now, I was a little surprised that maybe a team like Vegas didn't jump on Binner and give him a chance to play meaningful games down the stretch and, be the guy once again in a big playoff run.
The only thing I would say about that is that perhaps Kelly and George were scared by the fact that the cap exists in the playoffs now.
Good point.
And people have forgotten Carter Hart is still there. Now, we don't know when Carter Hart's coming back at all. They're very secretive about that. I think Sean Burke's the goalie whisperer there, and he's got to believe in Aiden Hill. And I think that I think that there's at a certain point you have to say, we're going to be okay in goal. And but that to me is I just don't know. I don't think that they had the capability to do it at this point at this year, perhaps next year, but I just don't think they were in a position to do that at this point. Particularly, I think they have to hope that Hart's going to come back at a certain point, and hopefully Carter Hart will be back at a place where he was in Philadelphia as opposed to the way he's played in Vegas so far.
John, I cannot thank you enough for joining us today on a special show for a great hockey conversation. Again, gang, if you have not already subscribed to 100% Hockey, do it immediately. You will not regret it. You can thank me later. What's coming up on the pod this week now that the dust has settled on the trade deadline, John?
We just finished Brian Lawton today, and actually, if you are a hockey quote-unquote manager/business nerd, it's an unbelievable conversation we had all over the map, and we had a giant discussion about no-move clauses and how they have become the scourge of the National Hockey League, and I think you'll be surprised at what Brian thinks about that scenario, is that he's not as big a fan as a former player and former agent should be. He's also a former manager, so he's lived both sides. Mm-hmm. It's a really fun conversation today. And then Steve Valiquette, we're going to talk about goaltending on Wednesday with Steve Valiquette out of New York, who he's the only person I ever talked to. I'm not an analytics guy, Andrew. I think you know that. He's the only guy that makes me understand analytics.
Yes.
When it comes to goalies. And he does it in my terms. He does it in layman's terms. He doesn't talk over my head. He creates context. He does a brilliant job. So Steve's going to join us. And we're going to have a general manager of a hockey team on Friday. I don't know who it is yet, but we're going to have a general manager and see what's going on with one of the teams.
Best guess in the biz. Always amazing hockey conversation. You can see right there. That's the YouTube page. 100% Hockey with Millard and Shannon, and definitely subscribe to the pod wherever you get it. John, you have a great night. Thank you again for jumping on. We always love having you on Winnipeg Sports Talk.
Cheers, Andrew.
Thanks so much. There is John Shannon. The hammer is locked and loaded, and he will join us in just a minute. Don't forget, gang, the days are ticking down to get your tickets for the St. B Mega Million Choices Lottery. The grand prize winner will have a choice of five $1.5 million dream home options. Bison Run, Prairie Point, West St. Paul, Highland Point, or in Victoria, BC. And the other option is just to take a cool $1.25 million cash tax-free. Get your tickets today, St. B megamillionchoices.ca online. You can buy them at Red River Co-op locations, London Drugs, and it is all in support of the very important research and projects at the St. Boniface Hospital. All right, a few thanks to sponsors, and Jeff Hamilton ready to go on WST next. I do want to thank our friends at Princess Auto for their wonderful support of WST. Won't be too long before we're back at Princess Auto Stadium cheering on the Bombers. In the meantime, Princess Auto serving Canadians coast to coast with the best deals on the most unique assortment of tools and equipment around. Everything you need to complete the projects on your list or start something new waiting for you at Princess Auto. So pop by and see them, Panet Road, Portage Avenue West, out in Brandon, or you can shop online 24/7, 365 over at princessauto.com. The snowmobile season continues to be an amazing one. A little more snow last night, and a lot of people will be hitting the trails on the weekend. Our pals at Chud's Power Sports are dominating the snowmobile season, and right now they have just started the Polaris 2027 Snow Check program up at Chud's in Gimli at the corner of Highway 8 and 231. It's for pre-ordering the new snowmobile models for next year. If you pre-order, you get the best deal of the year on the new models, plus an extra 2-year warranty for a total of 3 years instead of just the normal 1 year, $250 in free accessories, and the golden ticket, which will give them $1,000 off the 2028 Snow Check if they want to trade up to 27. It runs now until March 13th. The header is running on the website at chudspowersports.com. So get on over to that, and while you're at it, you can start thinking about spring with bikes and ATVs and RVs, because Chud's has it all. The power sports superstore in Manitoba for over 80 years. Got to thank Donnie and the gang at Manitoba Battery. Continue to get just always getting great comments from our listeners and customers that have found Manitoba Battery through WST. Shopping local, beating the pants off the big box stores and really anywhere else you're going to get batteries. And of course, the best in service. They'll put it in for you. They'll give you a free battery test if you're wondering if you need a new one. And right now, you want to get through this winter for car and truck batteries. But as we get into boats and ATVs and, of course, sleds, Manitoba Battery has it all. 2 Winnipeg locations, Logan Avenue, Dovercourt Drive out on the south side. And, of course, you can also order online. They do deliver anywhere inside the perimeter of the city of Winnipeg. You can order online today at manitobabattery.com. All right. The 5th anniversary show would not be complete without a visit from the Hammer. This segment, though, is a presentation of GMC. Truck Month is on now at GMC. If you want something reliable, tough, and ready for whatever the schedule throws at you, that's the 2026 Sierra 1500 Pro Graphite Crew Cab in a nutshell. Oh, that's a sweet truck. And it can be yours for 0% financing for 72 months with a factory 2-inch lift, off-road suspension, and a 5.3-liter V8. This is one ready for anything truck. Don't miss out. Get to your local GMC dealer and take advantage of Truck Month before it ends. Jeff Hamilton, welcome back to WST, my friend. What's going on?
Gentlemen, it's awesome to be here. As you've been talking about your 5th year anniversary, what a special milestone. I can only remember it was it must be 4 years ago now that I wrote the 1-year anniversary story, which yes. I love doing that story. I love that piece. And just to echo even some of the people who you've had on, and some of the people who work closely with you, it's nice for, even for me to say I'm just a small part of this community. I just love it. I love what you guys I tell you all the time off the mic, but I have no problem telling you on it. So happy for what you guys have grown, and what would this media landscape be without your guys' contributions? I don't know. So awesome stuff, and looking forward to the next 5.
It's very kind of you. And, while we thank everyone that comes on all the time and obviously our sponsors, but You in particular, obviously as well. I can't wait to get going with CFL 110 again with you as we get closer to the season. But the Mike and Ken and Marat and Brandon and yourself, our regulars, the mainstays, have been such a huge part of this too. So a big thanks to go out to all of you there. Schickster in the chat with the super chat. Looking forward to 5 more years. Thanks for the community. Love it, Schickster. And we'll be seeing you at the rink this week as well. How about that, Hammer? March 9th. And we look at the standings, and I'm pretty sure my eyes aren't deceiving me. The Jets are 5 points out of a playoff spot. Now, as always, we know there's other teams in the mix. There is still a massive hill to climb. But we got some meaningful games coming up for the Winnipeg Jets. And as we just talked with John Shannon, I wasn't sure that would be the case in March, never mind April.
Yeah, I don't think anybody did. There's still an obstacle in front here, right? It's not smooth sailing by any stretch of the imagination for the Winnipeg Jets, and they're going to need some help from some other teams. The thing is, Huss, they have been getting help from those other teams. It seems like those other teams ahead of them, the 3 or 4 or 5 teams that are all vying for a playoff spot, and the other good news is there's no one behind them, right? I guess you could make that argument. Yes, there's a team behind them by 5 points, same distance they have to the playoff spot, but all those teams seem resigned to the fact that they're not going anywhere, right? The Jets seem to be the only team in that bunch who still want to push for this, and obviously have done their side of the deal since the Olympic break, getting points in all 6 of those games since. So, this is a team that's in the mix. They have things working for them. It's just crazy to have this conversation because 2 weeks ago we were writing their obituary, right? And rightfully so. There's no saying that this team's going to bounce back. You and I were talking off mic a little bit. I know it's kind of divided, the fan base a little bit, right? Those people who have wanted this team to continue to trend downwards, to get a higher pick. That group of the fan base is not going to be happy with this, resurgence, if you will. But I don't even feel like the Jets are necessarily playing, significantly better hockey. I do think they're playing better hockey. They seem to have found a style of play, almost like a boring style of play that's worked for them, that's been effective. Obviously, that fast pace, dictating the speed of the game style that they've adopted in previous years isn't working this year. So they've been able to nicely adjust over the last couple of weeks. The games are only going to get more intense, right? So you're going to have to keep bringing it. So I don't even know if the play's been better, but the teams in and around them in the standings have been playing worse hockey. And I think that's obviously key. If you hear, after every game, Scott O'Neill always says, yeah, found a way, to get a point, or in this case, 2 points in the last 3 games. But we still need other teams to help us out. He's been watching the scoreboard, for the last couple of weeks, and he is noting every time Nashville doesn't get a point, every time LA doesn't get a point, San Jose doesn't get a point. He's obviously got his eyes on Seattle, who occupies that last wild card spot, and their difficulty in schedule, right? The other thing too is the Jets don't really have a super easy schedule. I think they play Colorado a few times here to close out the schedule, 3 times. So it's not like what's in front of them is pure daylight, but there is a little bit of light shining through that end of the tunnel. And if the Jets keep playing the way they're playing, or more importantly, keep getting the results that they've been getting, this might be a closer, maybe even a photo finish for that final spot as Winnipeg plays out the rest of the season, 20 games remaining.
I know we've got to look at a bunch of teams in this conversation, but Seattle's the team everyone is chasing. I've just pulled out their final 20. Home to Nashville, that's a huge game tomorrow night. With Nashville being, a chaser as well. Then they got the Avalanche on Thursday before Colorado comes here. At Vancouver, that's a good one for them. Home to Florida and Tampa Bay. And then a massive 6-game road trip at Nashville, Columbus, Florida, Tampa, Buffalo, Edmonton. Come back home for Utah and Chicago. Come here for that game that John was talking about on March 6th against Winnipeg, and then play the next night in Minnesota. 3 home games against Vegas, Calgary, and LA, and then at Vegas and at Colorado on the final day of the regular season. So, they've got Colorado twice. They've got some tough teams. And here's the reason why I think I've got a lot more time for at least talking about, okay, we're in a playoff run right now and they're back in it, is the game on Thursday against Tampa. Like, let's face it, when you looked at the last 25 games, you were like, oh, they could win against Chicago, win against Vancouver. But the bottom line is they're going to need to win a few games where they're big underdogs. They're going to have to get some points out of those Colorado games. That was a game that, if they were going to win, that was 2 points that I don't think anyone was expecting them to get, and then they got it. But I will give them credit and on doing what they did at the deadline. Not saying, hey, we've got all these points. We're only 7 out. We just beat Tampa last night. I think they did the prudent thing to do for the organization's sake with the Stanley and Shen trade. And then obviously, I think the Tanner Pearson deal was great because they needed to open up that spot, have Rosen have a spot in the lineup, bring someone who is Brad Lambert, and move forward. So, the players aren't going to quit. And I think they all to a man agreed that they are a much better team than their record has shown. So, unless you're shutting down a bunch of guys, which no one is going to be signing up for, you play the games and see what happens. The bottom line is right now with what's happened coming out of these 6 games, they suddenly have a knack for not blowing leads late and losing in regulation as opposed to getting to OT. They're starting to win a few of these overtime games. You mix that in with a game like Thursday night against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and a lot of people are like, okay, this is a big week, 4 huge games at home. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, and I think the only thing that I can really look at this final stretch kind of deterring what their goals are here, Huss, is probably playing a bit of a different roster or giving less of an opportunity. I'm with you. I don't think Tanner Pearson was going to make the difference one way or the other, whether the Jets found themselves in that, vying for a playoff spot, which appears to be the case right now, or if they were, double digits away from the playoffs. I don't think that Tanner Pearson was necessarily going to be one of those guys that was going to be in the mix. Now that being said, how might this situation alter giving more opportunity or giving more opportunity to players who have, that you want to see more of, or you want to see if they're part of next year's operation, if they can, hit the ground running in that way and get a better idea, right? Because I mentioned this in last week's show. There's nothing a player is going to do over the summer that's going to necessarily change where their viewpoint is from the organization, unless you're a guy battling an injury and you're getting healthier, right? No one's going to do enough over the offseason on the Moose, whether show film or tape, that's going to move them into an automatic spot next season. They need to get those NHL games and need to show Kevin Cheveldayoff and management of this team that they're capable of handling that workload. There's nothing you can do in the offseason that's going to prove it the way you can prove it when you're playing those NHL games. So that's obviously a really important part for all those guys who are trying to make that impression. The reality is, though, the Jets didn't do enough leading up to the trade deadline to alter their plans in being sellers. Of course, Kevin Shovel did the prudent move and traded guys like, Logan Stanley and Luke Shen, 2 guys that didn't look like they were, Luke Shen certainly wasn't going to be back. And Logan Stanley, with his contract ask and suggested value just in the line for Winnipeg, it made sense. And you haven't necessarily closed the door on Logan Stanley either for a future deal if and when that is to occur. So, but at the same time here, you've now as a team, as players, I think proved maybe done enough to sell your GM not to force players into the lineup, because that's, I use that word and I think it's accurate. You're kind of forcing some of the Moose players in. Nobody on the Moose really, and you heard it from Kevin Cheveldayoff at his deadline presser, has really done enough to force the Jets' hands and force an extended stay with the NHL club. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of, working with the lineup necessarily or taking back promises that you had to players. I think that the focus, if the Jets can keep collecting points, is going to be to win each night, right? It's not going to be the result isn't going to be secondary, especially as they're this close. So I think you're going to see a lineup that's going to reflect some of the changes because it's inevitable. You still have guys out of the lineup who are injured, but once all of a sudden, is Neil Pionk's injury, all these guys who you thought maybe wouldn't come back for the rest of the season, because if you're out of the playoff picture and even if you're healthy, you're coming back from an injury, you're probably going to rest guys or ensure that they go into the off season healthy so they can build on their rehab and not risk injury in the final meaningless parts of the regular season. Well, what happens if there's 5 or 6 games remaining and all of those games seem meaningful? I think some of those injured players might come back, right? It's always, well, if it was fighting for a playoff spot, spot, or if these were the circumstances, he would play. Suddenly we're getting back into that conversation. If the Jets can continue to trend this way and close that gap on a playoff spot, that's where I think the really interesting part in these 20 games is who's healthy, who's ready to go. And if and when it creates a situation where the Jets could really push for a playoff spot, then I think some of those decisions we anticipated happening here in the final, X amount of games might have a completely different meaning to them and therefore philosophy from the management. But we'll have to wait and see on that.
I mean, with the moves, the team had 12 forwards, so everyone was playing. I'm just going to say this. I've seen enough of Gus Nyquist this year. I'm happy that he got his goal against Tampa and doesn't have to have a 0 in his lifetime stats and people going, what the hell happened that year in Winnipeg? But I had a lot of time for Walker Duehr, and he's probably the one guy that did really kind of earn that spot with his play in the Moose so far this year. Obviously, Brad Lambert's being given a big opportunity right now. He's a guy that has to make the most of it. And I definitely like to see Rosen get an opportunity on a different line than the Taves-Nyquist line that, I get it for the first game to kind of put those through. And from what we heard from Chevy, that's going to be all part of the mix. Let me ask you this, though. First, did you see the Buffalo-Tampa game yesterday?
I did, and I'm wondering, I think I know exactly where you're going with this conversation. Are you about to mention a name you haven't mentioned yet in that mix?
Yes, I am.
And is it a name that Kevin Cheveldayoff went out and mentioned?
That's exactly right.
And does he have 19 points in the AHL and 201 career games, and is he tough as nails?
That's exactly right.
And is he the only Jets option as a fighter because Adam Lowry is not going to fight for this team anymore?
You are reading my mind, Hammer. You are reading my mind.
Okay.
And Tico
Napoli was happy
about this. And listen, I've been saying this for the last month that this is a guy that deserves. And in the thinking that the season, whatever, we're going to be playing 20 games that don't matter at the end of the season. This guy deserves a call up. Like no matter what happened with Stanley or anything, if there's a guy that's given more blood, sweat, and tears to this organization, doing the most difficult job in pro sports, it's Tyrell Bauer. And we were all excited that Chevy said what he said. This is a guy that we'd love to give an opportunity. Well, now knowing that these games might have a bit more juice than had been expected, and you literally traded the two toughest guys on your team outside of Adam Lowry, who they don't want to have to police the entire other roster.
Totally.
To me, this Bauer call-up comes sooner than later. Now, I'm also not entirely convinced right out of the gate that Bauer is ready for playing 12, 13 minutes a night. For the first time, I was thinking about this morning. I would love to see a Bauer call up, and I could see the Jets potentially go 11-7 for some games. I think you give some more opportunities to put those young guys maybe in a couple other situations, and then Bauer might be playing 5 to 6 minutes and come in situational opportunities, if you will, and run through with 7D. Like I've got a lot of time for that idea because, as I say, when the Jets are playing the likes of the Avalanche, who've got a lot of bite on their team, Vegas coming up. Certainly you saw Tampa come in. Now, they didn't have the juice they had last night on Thursday here in Winnipeg. Mm-hmm. But there is a gaping hole of physicality and toughness on the Winnipeg Jets right now. And to me, what we thought might be a 2-game reward for doing everything you could ask a guy to do at the American Hockey League level, I've got a lot more time for the presence of Tyrell Bauer on this Winnipeg Jet roster right now, based on who's gone to the Buffalo Sabres on Friday.
Yeah, you and me both. And I think it's something the Jets are consciously thinking of. They have to be, right? I mean, this is a rough sport, especially as these games get more, I don't want to say meaningful because they're obviously all worth the same amount of points, but they get more intense, certainly, as we near towards the playoffs. That intensity naturally breeds more emotion. That more emotion naturally breeds physical activity, right? More scrums after the whistle, more teams taking liberty, especially against those teams that don't have anybody to back them up. Like, think about this for a second. The Jets roll into any barn, right? Like on the road, up here. Maybe they've collected points in all their road trips. They're really flying high. And how are you going to knock the Jets off their pedestal? By knocking them around, right? And who's going to have to answer the bell? A guy who they rely on heavily to now be their second centerman in Adam Lowry. Like, Adam Lowry's probably still tough as nails and can still go at it, but he's not the same fighter he is now. He's coming off the injury, with the hip, and he needs to be used for other roles. You can't have that guy, because the other thing too, and I mean, knock on wood for Adam, but like Adam's been able to play that style of hockey and not result in an injury. The last thing the Jets need is Adam Lowry breaking his hand on someone's helmet or face in an emotional fight, even if it does help the team in the moment. No offense to Tyrell Bauer, but he's both very young. What is he, 23 years old? And can toss them, right? Like we've seen, like I think probably people celebrating the most is going to be the social content team, who are going to be, probably isolating on him every time he's on the ice for one of his, one of those spirited fights that he's been able to do in the AHL. And man, can he throw them? So, I think it's vital that they have him in the mix, if and when this thing gets even more serious, if it gets more serious as a playoff spot. But you need that toughness in your lineup. I know the game's moving to faster and more skilled players, but the playoffs always have that edge. The great divide is always that physicality, and players, those players who don't fight or aren't expected to fight, those they can be thrown off their game in those kind of affairs. And you can really equalize it when you have the bodies on your side that will step up to the plate and do those things that not a lot of players can do in this league, and fight or whatever, right? Be that intimidating factor. So I think that I know that's something the Jets are thinking, and certainly something they've been conscious of since trading Shannon and Stanley, is who's going to fill in that gap. No one better than Tyrell Bauer. And if you're looking at, a limited number of moves here in the end, as we get to the stretch and earning an opportunity, I think that's going to be one of those guys that's going to probably leapfrog some of the more skilled guys, if things get real here in the coming weeks.
Yeah, well, and originally I thought that the call-up would happen even before what Chevy had to say. I figured that there's a good chance that would happen. They would do him right, and it's probably last couple of weeks in April, take a look at a few guys, and he's in there. I'll make the argument that I think, and whether he's not playing very much, I'm not suggesting he's going to be out on the ice with 8 minutes left in a tie game in the third period, but I am suggesting that, as we get into these divisional games, like this weekend, St. Louis coming in, like they've won 4 in a row, actually. Like and we sort of had left them for dead, like a lot of people left the Jets, but both of those teams have taken, like, it's just gotten a lot more sort of condensed outside of Winnipeg. And when we talk about this Jets team and what has sort of been missing, like I have thought for a lot, and part of it was Lowry was out for a good portion of the season and then took a while to kind of get back to his level. And then, when you got a Scheifele and Connor and Cole Perfetti and Gustav Nyquist at this line, I mean, there's not a lot of bite in that lineup. And I think it's evidently clear right now that if you're going to go through these top teams, like you're going to need to be able to score goals, but you're also going to need to be able to answer the physical challenge of the top teams in this division and in the National Hockey League. And even if we're not even talking about playoffs in a couple of weeks, like that sort of hockey was great. And a lot of these guys stepped up when they needed to. I mean, that series, we talked about it, the 7-gamer against the Blues last year was as physical a 7-game series as we've seen in a long time. I mean, it was war every single time. And it's tough to do that for 82 games. But if you want to be a playoff team, if you want to be able to answer the challenge and not get embarrassed against those top teams, like not only do you need to have a couple guys that can throw them when you need, but you also need everybody in that lineup to frankly play a little more aggressive, a little tougher, and have a little bit more of a chip on their shoulder.
Which just leads to more scrums and more physicality, right?
Exactly. You need to embrace that. Like every guy on this roster right now. So, I think a lot of times before they sort of left it to Shen and they left it to Logan Stanley. And now, without those guys in the lineup, I think there's going to be kind of a challenge to everyone, not to go out and fight every game. That's not what I'm saying, but you know what I'm saying. Like that style.
I know exactly what you're saying.
We're not getting pushed around. You know what?
You know what that is, Huss? That's Rick Bonus. They need to you go after one of us, you go after all of us. That was the message that he sent to the Winnipeg Jets when he took over years ago. You go after one of us, you go after all of us. Are we expecting everyone to be drop the gloves or whatever? No, but you have to have the mentality that if you go after one of us, you go after all of us. And I think that's what you're speaking to. And that's exactly what he brought to Columbus. In fact, if you want to go to one of the earliest videos they have of Bones talking to the group, one of the last things he says in his message after they reeled off, because I think he got there and they reeled off a handful of wins or whatever, after like the third or fourth win, they shoot this video after the game and telling them how we're going to show you how to do it. But, you just have to go out there and do it. And then he wraps it up. And boys, that's what I'm telling you. They go after one of us, they go after all of us, and they wrap up that chat and they leave the door. That's exactly the mentality that the Winnipeg Jets have to have. You don't have to have you kind of have to have a designated fighter. You have to have somebody who, when it hits a climax, if you will, who are the guys that are going to go out there and take the punches, right? You need those players, but you need to be part of it too. Like, you need to get in on it. You need to be mucking it up after every scrum. You need to be able to be in that, right? Again, it doesn't necessarily need to, and more often than not, won't result in the dropping of the gloves. But you can't be afraid of the extracurricular activity. But again, back to the point I made throughout, in between your chat there, Huss, was that just leads to more chaos, right? And chaos leads to more fighting, and it leads to more spontaneous things. And the reality is, while you all need to be in it, you do need to have designated tough guys. Like, whether you want to call them fighters or not or whatever, you need to have, because that's how things tilt. It's amazing. You hear about players playing 6 feet tall, everyone playing, an extra 4 or 5 inches taller when Dustin Byfuglien's on the ice, or this guy's on the ice, or someone else is on the ice. That's a real thing. You play tougher when you have tougher guys in the lineup. And I believe, I'm sure it's got that same effect when you don't have that kind of muscle. And if it's going to go that way, and you got a guy walking by your bench telling you he'll challenge everybody on the bench, and not one guy is going to step up and do it, that has an effect on a team. It does. It's just the reality of sport, and professional sports in this case. You need to have that guy. So I'm with you, Huss. It's not one or the other. It's not like you bring in Tyrell Bauer and it just fixes all your problems from a toughness or fighting standpoint. It does fix it to a certain degree, but you need to be all in it, right? If you're a playoff team, if you want to win the Stanley Cup, if you're going to be that team that's hoisting, the best trophy in the universe at the end of a grueling, playoff series, you're going to have to be all in it. So you're going to have to bring that killer instinct. You're going to have to bring that mentality, but it's really nice to do so, Huss, when you got a couple of guys dedicated around the team that are going to do the heavy lifting when the shit hits the fan.
Amen to that. Hey, big shout out to our guy S2 Norm G. Norm, thank you very much for the super chat. Congrats on your 5th anniversary. Great rewards, well earned for you, Michael and Andrew. Took adversity from TSN and kicked its ass. Here's to another 5 years. Cheers to you, Norm. And hey, yeah, if you're up in 316 tomorrow, I will be there. Grab me at the hangar bar there at the intermissions. We'll just be hanging around talking about the first period. Pop by and definitely say hi. Hammer, I got to tell you just before we go, I mean, listen, we've always have great chats on the program, but it is great to have you back on the Jets beat. How have you been? Came right into it. 8-game homestand, double dipping. This is a busy time for you.
Yeah, so I don't know how much public per se, but yeah, I'm back on the Jets beat, going to games. My favorite person in the media world, Judy Owen with CP. She's transitioning out. I'm transitioning in, just kind of helping out. Doing a freelance card. I'm still with the Winnipeg Free Press, but I'm bringing my Free Press coverage pretty much exclusively to investigative work. I've been, anyone who follows my work kind of knows I've been doing that for the last while here in particular. So yeah, really nice to be kind of back in the fold. Covering the Jets. It's going to be in those scrums more than I usually, but again, most of them will be after the game. So yeah, it's been exciting to kind of be, more in the mix. I still love what I do on the other side, but yeah, to be back with the gang, the usual suspects you cover and bring my insight to it. Yeah, I look forward to it.
Well, I love it. I just love the fact that you're at all the games now. So maybe we'll see you tomorrow night at the rink. Have a great one tonight and a very busy 4 and 6 starting tomorrow. So we'll see you down there. Thanks so much for doing this as always, Hammer.
Yeah, right on, my friend. And again, congratulations on that 5-year anniversary. Just so awesome what you guys have built, and looking forward to, like I said, the next 50 years. So let's hopefully I can be a part of that down the road. So
Cheers,
thanks so much
buddy.
for having me, and we'll see you next week.
You bet. All right, there is the hammer himself. Chat's going off as always. This is the next one. XB Black Ice says toughness isn't an issue for the Jets. Depth goal scoring is. 55 and 81 can't be forced to score multiple goals to game to be competitive. I don't disagree with the goal scoring. I mean, that's been a conversation all year. You're right on that. But I think toughness is an issue with the Jets right now after this trade. And like, listen, if you're just going through the motions, playing games that mean nothing at the end of the year, I mean, there probably isn't a lot of intensity. But if you are, it can't just be Adam Lowry. And listen, all you need to do is take a look at that game last night between the Sabres and the Lightning, or Colorado and Minnesota yesterday, as John mentioned. Like things are getting ramped up in the NHL, and you're either able to compete with that or you'll get run over. And right now, the way the Jets are put together, I wouldn't like their chances in a really rough, intense game against a lot of the teams they're going to be going up against. So I know T-Code and Paulie like that chat. We've got, yes, and as Matthew Jansen just mentioned, we did trade our 7th leading scorer. What a season for Logan Stanley. All right, Connor's going to join us. We're going to get the latest from practice and more. We've got cool bet lines coming up. We actually have an unboxing as well. Special unboxing for the 5th anniversary today. But quick thanks to our WST sponsors, and Connor's jumping in right after this. Clean Line is your one-stop shop with over 40 years of experience for the best in Winnipeg residential and commercial plumbing, heating, and electrical services. And much like the Captain Adam Lowry, they've got you covered 24/7 with emergency services. Remember the number, 204-500-2001 for Clean Line Plumbing, Heating, Electrical for all your needs, residential, commercial, and when you're in a jam. The gang at BP is ready to welcome Jet fans back. Head to your local BP Jets Pick a Player contest for all Winnipeg Jet games. And, of course, those ice-cold schooners, world-famous BP wings, gourmet pizzas, and more. Staying at home, you can always get the great taste of BP by ordering online at bostonpizza.com. And got to shout out our friends at Royal. What a run they had with the Olympic Games. Now we look ahead to the Stanley Cup playoffs, of course, and baseball season. Tons of new Jays and MLB gear coming in by the day. And as everyone's getting ready to maybe get out of town in and around spring break, don't forget Royal's amazing snowboard department with the best in deals on boots, bindings, decks, you name it. They've got it with the experts to help you get the right fit before you hit the slopes. It's all waiting for you at Royal Sports, 750 Pembina Highway. Follow them on Instagram at the latest merchandise drops and sale information. Let's give a big cheers to our friends at Winnipeg's favorite local brewery, Little Brown Jug.
You train day in and day out, learning new techniques, approaching new concepts, and living out the thrill of achieving your goals. Building a craft beer is no different. While you spend your hours on the ice, we spend ours here, brewing our trademark beer. Again, and again. Here's to pushing the status quo and challenging ourselves to build something memorable. 1919 by Little Brown Jug.
All right, let's bring in the third member of the team, Connor Rabjak, who is back after practice today with the Winnipeg Jets. Connor, what is going on? Welcome back to the program. Great long edition of WST Sunday Live coming out of that game on Saturday. You and Liz had a lot to jump on. Folks, if you haven't seen it, check it out after the show. What's up?
Doing great, Huss. Excited to be here on the 5-year anniversary. Yesterday, technically, Sunday Live, we mentioned it a little bit, but today's the real celebratory day. And as everyone knows, I wasn't here for all 5 years. I kind of jumped on a moving train here, but incredibly grateful and honored to be part of such an awesome team with you, Reem, and now Liz, and what you've given us the platform to do with Sunday Live and me covering the Jets. And you guys are awesome to work with. And I'm looking forward to not only the next 5 years, but as Hammer said at the end there, the next 50 years. Let's do it, man. I could talk about sports for the next 50 plus years for sure.
Well, I'll say this, and it's a tip of the cap to you. But if Isaac Rosen or Brad Lambert could make as much of their opportunities as you have with ours, the Winnipeg Jets would be in as good a shape as we are right now with you on board with us. So definitely deserve a lot of credit for that. Let's get to, I do want to talk a little football because both you and I have a lot to be happy for today.
Yes.
We'll hit that at the end, but take us into a practice yesterday. I guess an off day yesterday and knowing like what's coming up. I mean, 4 games in 6 nights, Ducks, Rangers, and then a massive weekend with back-to-back matinees. 3 o'clock on Saturday against the Avs, 2 o'clock against the Blues, who kind of all of a sudden have some life, winning 4 in a row. Take us back to the rink this morning and the practice as the team got back to work, looking to win another game and keep their faint playoff hopes alive.
Yeah, Huss, they took Sunday off. You want to know why? Because that's the last time they'll have 2 days without a game until the end of March. So they play every other day, or even with 2 back-to-backs in there, starting tomorrow all the way till March 28th, and then they get a 2-day break again, the 29th and the 30th. So this team, this is the stretch. This is the grind of the schedule, condensed schedule. We've talked about it all year, and this is really the stretch where the Jets have 2 back-to-backs and they play every other day kind of thing for the next 3 weeks, essentially. But yeah, practice today. You'll notice the way the lines ended against the Vancouver Canucks, they put Velarde back up on that top line as they were trailing late in the game. Velarde scores the absolutely filthy, disgusting, nasty, whatever adjective you want to use, goal to tie that game up. That was on the power play, of course, but they keep that line together today at practice. They move Iafallo back down to the second line with Perfetti and Lowry. Isak Rosen stays with Jonathan Taves and Gustav Nyquist on the third line. And then the fourth line, which Huss, I thought was awesome in that game against the Vancouver Canucks. Koepke, Barron, Lambert stays together as well. We talked to Barron at the skate today, and he said all 3 of those guys have speed. He likes how Lambert can forecheck, but also hold on to pucks when they get it in the offensive zone and let his creativity shine through. So I'd like to see that fourth line play a little bit more. They played just 6 minutes at 5-on-5 in that game against the Vancouver Canucks, but I liked them as a trio. All 3 of them really do have a lot of speed. And then on the blue line, no changes. Morrissey DeMello, Sandberg, Salamonson, Hayden Fleury, and Jacob Bryson. Ville Heinola is the extra. And then the goalies today, we won't know who the starter is for tomorrow until tomorrow, but given the Jets haven't had many 2-day breaks, and they actually are just coming off of one, I'd have to think that it's Connor Hellebuyck, especially against a team in the Anaheim Ducks that's a playoff team, and maybe you give Comrie the Rangers before the back-to-back over the weekend, or you save Comrie entirely for that back-to-back and just play him against the Blues this weekend. But yeah, these are the lines today at practice. We heard from Barron. We also heard from Dean Chenault, the assistant coach. So lots happening down at the rink today.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Helly. Playing on Saturday, I was surprised. I just all week long, I just assumed that was a Comrie start. And then, we'd come back and probably run Helly for the first 3 games of this week, and Comrie would get the game against St. Louis. With the way things are going in the position that they're in, I do have time for what was it like? Didn't Maurice run him like the last, was it 14 straight starts until they clinched a playoff spot in the final game of the regular season in one of those years? And
then 2 years ago, Bones ran Hellebuyck the final 14 games because Dave Riddick was like unplayable, and the Jets that was the year the Jets played Vegas in the first round, but they had to like fight their way in down the stretch because they started off hot and then slid the second half of the year. The Jets used to do that all the time, slide in the second half of the year, as we know. And they were in the middle of that slide, and Dave Riddick had like an 880 save percentage. So they're like, we're not even playing this guy, and Hellebuyck ran 15 straight. We might be in that mode. And look, you look at the March schedule, the Jets on this homestand have a back-to-back, Colorado, St. Louis. I think it's pretty natural. You just give Comrie the St. Louis game. The other back-to-back coming up is Pittsburgh, New York. So I think, again, pretty natural. You just give Comrie the New York Rangers game in that second half of back-to-back. That's on the road. But, yeah, this might be a situation where if there's a day off between games, Connor Hellebuyck's in. And if it's a back-to-back, then you'll see Comrie. And it works out with their back-to-backs that there's one strong opponent and one weak opponent in both. So, I don't know. I think we are in that territory, Huss, because not only did the Jets take care of their own business this past week, but they got luck on the out-of-town scoreboard too, cutting that deficit from 11 to 5 coming out of the Olympic break. So, yeah, it might be just Connor Hellebuck massive workload mode until the playoff dreams fall or they've climbed their way back into it. We'll see.
That really is insane when you put it like that. Like the 25th of February was the resumption of the season. They were in Vancouver. They played 6 games since then. They've left 2 points on the table, both overtime losses. And that difference has gone from 11-5. Now, that doesn't happen just by winning your own games. I mean, you do need, and that's part of why it has been so daunting. But to do that in such a short period of time with this, I mean, there's still a quarter of the season left right now. It is definitely going to take a significant winning streak and a consistent level of play. And I mean, every single night for these guys, if they're believing, is going to feel like a playoff race. And then, again, 5 more games on this homestand: Ducks, Rangers, Avs, Blues, and Predators. But I'd say you have to win the 4 games that aren't against Colorado. And who knows? I mean, if you can have a performance against Colorado as you did against Tampa, maybe you've got a chance to win. Speaking of Tampa, did you watch that game yesterday?
So the first 2 periods I did not watch, but I saw everything happening on social media and then tuned in for the third. What an atmosphere, Huss. That was my thing. Like, I love the fact that Buffalo's not only good again, but the fans, like, you can just tell there's like 15 or 14 years, whatever it is, of pent up, like, frustration with this team that they're letting out because they have a wagon of a team that's fighting and winning games. And it's so awesome to see. I got,
as a fan first, I got legitimate chills listening to that building and knowing what that those fans in Buffalo have been through for 14 years.
Yeah.
And just how much they are appreciated. In fact, Remo, if you can, this won't be as great for podcast listeners, but we should play this. Go to the Sabres X if you can. And there's a tweet from last night, probably like around 10 or 11 o'clock. And it just says Buffalo versus everyone. And after that game, their social media crew went down and just had cameras on the fans as they were leaving the building last night. And listen, if you missed the game, I cannot score. Crank it with the volume. I mean,
Sabres on the warpath. Ooh,
there is not.
Let's go, baby. Let's go, Buffalo.
Like, you would think that they just won the freaking cup.
Yeah.
But I mean, good on them. Good on them. Like, that is what it is all about. And I mean, that game, as they say, if you missed it, the Sabres were up 4-0. They blew, and there were, I mean, I think there was 10 fighting majors in the first couple of periods. They blow the lead. They go down 7-5 and then come back and win 8-7. And I was listening to the radio call back afterwards, I was listening to a post-game show this morning. I couldn't get enough of this game. I wanted to hear people talking about it. And the radio guy called, like, after the goal that made it 8-7, he goes, blah, 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 scores. It's 8-7. And I can't believe I just said it's 8-7. Like, thinking out loud. But there was nothing. And then obviously with the Jet connection with the Sabres, Logan Stanley and Luke Schenn weren't able to play in that game. So Stanley did a media availability at the first intermission and joined the broadcast. And I don't know whether he was taking receipts right there live on the air, but can you imagine being him in his role and Luke Schenn coming in and being in the building and watching their new team play that game in that atmosphere with that much physicality? What an opportunity, like, Connor, for Stan, as an individual. I mean, he's going to a team that's the great story in the league this year. we all remember it was a year ago that Tage Thompson got smoked in the head and nobody did a damn thing. And that was for a lot of players, like probably the darkest moment. And the way they've turned it around, adding Carrick, Stanley, and Shen, the Sabres are a wagon and they are going to be so much fun to watch. And can you imagine if we get a round 2 best-of-7 series rematch of what happened last night? I mean, Gary Bettman and Bill Daly must be thanking their lucky stars. It was just incredible.
Yeah, Hustlers 15 combined goals and 100 penalty minutes. Like that is hockey at its finest, right? That's like great. That's why we love this sport so much. It's incredible. And yeah, you got to think Logan Stanley was up there and doing an interview, taking numbers. These two teams do play again before the end of the regular season. Has April 6th. I'll be tuning into that one. We'll see how many fights go on in that one. But I read Buffalo beat reporters and people who follow the Sabres hyping up that game, Huss, as the biggest Sabres regular season game since they last made the playoffs, because, they're in this battle for the number 1 seed in the Atlantic. Them and the Lightning are 1-2. They've played 2 more games than Tampa Bay has, but they're up 2 points right now, Buffalo is. And this game gives them a bit of an upper hand on the Lightning, even though the Lightning do have the games played. Tampa's been struggling as of late. We saw them here on this road trip that they're on right now. They're by no means playing their best hockey of the season right now. So this opens the door for Buffalo to run away with the Atlantic Division lead, Huss. And what a story that would be if the Buffalo Sabres not only made the playoffs, but did it in emphatic fashion, winning the Atlantic. And that's why there was so much juice and passion and energy in that game. And there was fights. And Peyton Krebs, Rasmus Dahlin, Sam Carrick were all fighting. Like, I think they would have loved to have Logan Stanley in that game take away one of those fights from one of those guys, right? So there was so much physicality, 100 penalty minutes, 15 goals. That is hockey at its absolute finest. Not only game of the year, Huss, but one of the best regular season games truly of all time. Easily.
Dude, like I'm I know we did the why not question of the day for Not AutoCorp earlier. By the way, the question, the up-to-date results, are the Jets actually in the playoff race right now? Yes, they are. 35%, still a long shot, 50%, no chance, 14%. Oh, still a long shot, just went up to 51. I think that's pretty accurate. But the other one, as we kind of bring it back to the Jets, as I was just talking about with Hammer, is kind of what's left with the Jets. Now, people are going to talk about secondary scoring. Obviously, that is the number one thing that this team has needed all year long. But before I was saying, maybe we'll get a couple games of Bauer. He certainly deserves the opportunity. Looking at some of these other games around the league and the way teams are getting ready for the playoffs and how the physicality is being ramped up, I don't think you want to put that all on the shoulders of Adam Lowry. Everyone else is going to need to step up a little bit more, but I'm thinking we might see a little bit more Bauer, especially after what Cheveldayoff had said on Friday, than before. And as I say, I would have time for them going 11-7 in some situations and having him in there and playing, 5-6 minutes and when needed. And maybe that opens things up a little bit more for the new guys. Speaking of the new guys, with everything going on, we haven't spent a lot of time talking about Rosen. What did you think about him in his first game?
Yeah, Huss. He only played 11 and a half minutes, only had the 1 shot on goal, only a few shot attempts. I think he's a guy that's going to need to. He's not Jacob Bryson in the sense of he's closing in on 300 NHL games and he can come in with a brand new system and just look amazing game 1, right? Like he's here because he didn't get NHL opportunities in Buffalo, and the Winnipeg Jets are going to give him that NHL opportunity. Having said that, he did make a couple of nice plays. There was one shift in the game. It was the first period where Connor and Scheifele made their way out there and Taves and Nyquist had changed, and it was Rosen, Connor, Scheifele, and there were some nice passes, and Scheifele even generated a chance, and they spent all of it in the offensive zone. I'm not there yet. I know a lot of people on Twitter and in this chat room want to see him higher up in the lineup. I want to see him with Cole Perfetti. I want to see him higher up in the lineup, but I'm willing to give it a few games. I just hope on this homestand we see him play with a Perfetti or maybe even higher up. But I'm really excited for what he potentially can be, and the skill set that he brings and the speed. I thought the speed was very evident. Again, you watch this Winnipeg Jets team all year. Anyone that comes in and is a very fast player is obviously going to stand out. So I like that. And then Jacob Bryson too. I mean, there's a reason that a 5'9" defenseman who was drafted in the 4th round is closing in on 300 NHL games. You know, like the NHL GMs don't just give opportunities to 5'9" 4th round defenseman, like day 2 draft picks. He earned his way to the NHL, and he earned his way to almost 300 NHL games, as I said multiple times here. I thought he was very quick, very agile, moved the puck very well. He even defended the rush very well, I thought, a few times in that game too. And yes, if you're going into a playoff series against the Minnesota Wild, where they have 3 giants, 3 trees on their 4th line, just going to put everyone through the boards, yeah, you're concerned about 5'9" Jacob Bryson. But as for the Winnipeg Jets today, I do think he adds a puck moving element and a defending the rush element that maybe was missing from the Winnipeg Jets 3rd pairing earlier on before the deadline. And I actually liked his game quite a bit. So first impressions of the new guys, it's only 1 game, but so far, so good for me.
Yeah, I thought that Rosen in particular, a couple times where like the shift had changed and he was out there with Scheifele. He did go offside that one point wearing 27. Right. I know Murat mentioned. I don't remember who that remind you of. But I thought he was good on the puck and made some really good quick passes, good decisions. So far so good. Again, I don't love the combination. Like, I don't love the Nyquist-Taves pairing for him. I think we're going to have to see some different looks. I mean, I was mentioning to you before, I'd have time for maybe like putting Lambert and Rosen on with Barron. A much faster line. But you do make a great point. I mean, that line and Koepke's been awesome lately.
Yeah.
They've been making it happen. I as I say, I don't know how right now with the injuries where they are, whether there'll be, room to get Dewar back into the mix. I would have a lot of time for him taking the Nyquist spot right now in the roster. But I guess, we'll see it on a game by game basis. But
so I have a question for you that we were talking about on Sunday Live. When Neil Pionk comes back, who does he play with? Or who do you think Salamonson plays with? Maybe is the better question.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean,
because I've loved that pairing, Samberg and Salamonson. I think they're crushing right now.
Listen, he's just quietly been excellent.
Yeah, agreed.
And I'm sort of with you. Like I don't think it's an automatic. He just goes back into his spot. I mean, to be honest, with the amount of time that he's been off, maybe you do bring him and put him in a 3rd pairing role.
He's in.
I think if he's up to 100%, we have seen him play with Josh at times in the past. And I mean, I love Dylan DeMello, great Jet, all that. I mean, I do think big picture, there's a couple things the team would love to have. An upgrade of Josh Morrissey's partner certainly would be one of those things. So, maybe it is Pionk playing at some point with Morrissey, keeping those guys together and having Dylan DeMello playing a 3rd pairing role. We'll see. Has there been any update on Pionk, by the way?
No. So coming out of the Olympic break, you'll remember he was in a yellow jersey and then shed that. And it looked like Scarden even said he'll be in the lineup against Vancouver. First game coming out of the break. And then just one day he wasn't out there for practice. He said he had a setback and was week to week again. So all 3 of Nemesnikov, Niederreiter, and Pionk, we just got week to week. And there's only a number of weeks left in the season. So it's kind of wait and see with all 3 of those guys. Saw Vlad Nemesnikov walking around the rink today. I know his was a knee injury as well. So maybe he's a little bit closer than the other 2. But we're just week to week on all 3 of those guys, and there hasn't really been an update in the past couple of days.
Okay, Connor, hang tight. I want to get to some NFL. First, though, do want to mention the HSC Fund a Need campaign. Of course, our friends at Aikens Lake. I do want to thank our friends at the HSC Foundation and remind you all that right now the Fund a Need campaign is well underway. This is so important to help with the spinal surgery department. There's obviously a big wait. They're looking to raise $425,000, and every one of your donations will be matched. So it will be doubled. Of course, you'll get a tax receipt for it. They're looking to get some new surgical equipment that will allow 200 more spine surgeries and 400 more joint replacement surgeries a year. So if you go to Health Sciences Center Foundation, to the Fund a Need campaign, and help us raise $425,000, and everything is matched by the Manitoba Spine Program. And hey, making our finishing touches with our winner to get out to Aikens Lake this year. Don't forget, folks, if you're looking for a world-class fly-in fishing experience here in the province, where you can be on the water in less than a couple hours from the city of Winnipeg, Aikens Lake is the spot. World-class fishing and even more world-class hospitality from the Terrence family and the Aikens team. Booking now throughout the summer, over 75% full. So check it out now at aikenslake.com and get your bookings. And if you are looking for a great summer job for you students out there, go to aikenslake.com and inquire as well about opportunities for the upcoming year. All right, let's get the boys in here, the three-way box, because NFL free agency has started today with a this wasn't like the NHL trade deadline where you had to wait a long time for a lot of things to happen. We'll go through a whole bunch of these, but yours truly and Mr. Hrabchak are pretty pumped right now. Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker is on his way to Arrowhead to lead the way in the Chiefs backfield. And Connor, Mike Evans leaving Tampa, where he's played his entire career, to join your 49ers.
Yeah, Huss, I'd imagine you got to be pretty pumped because the Chiefs running back position has just kind of been, plug and play whoever. Yeah. Pacheco is, there you go. Pacheco was like a 7th round pick that they just thought, oh, maybe this guy can have some run. But yeah, Mike Evans to the Niners, super pumped for that because Kittle tore his Achilles in the playoff game last year. So he's probably out till like November or December at the absolute earliest, best case scenario. The Brandon Ayuk drama that we have gone through this whole past offseason, they just cut him. He's not even on the team anymore. I think Jawan Jennings has let the team know he's going to sign elsewhere. So this team needs weapons. And getting a guy in Mike Evans who's had, I think it's 11 1,000-yard seasons in the NFL at 33 years old, I like it. And I hope the Niners draft another wide receiver because that's a position that they've very much been lacking in. But Mike Evans has been good for over a decade now. He's been an elite receiver in the league. So hopefully his hamstrings can hold up next to the electrical substation that is seemingly injuring all of the 49ers players. But other than that, great move.
Yeah, and and from a Chief perspective, getting Kenneth Walker solves the big hole in the backfield. And it also puts them in a situation. I mean, there was a lot of smoke that they were going to be taking Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame at 9th. And I mean, part of me thinks that's way too early to pick a running back. But then you look at the other top 10 running backs in recent history, Jahmyr Gibbs, what's his name from Bijan Robinson in Atlanta. These guys really have kind of changed offenses. But the fact that they won't need to go running back there and can either take the best receiver on the board or someone that can kill QBs is nice for the Chiefs. Remo, how about this? Alec Pierce was thought to be the number 1 receiver on the free agent board. Thought he might get upwards of $27 million. He re-signs with the Colts, 4 years, $116 million, and then they trade Michael Pittman to the Pittsburgh Steelers in a kind of surprisingly just a swap of late round picks. Pittman was a guy I always thought was pretty reliable, but Colts keeping a guy that was a priority for them, and Pittsburgh still trying to fill that receiver room now via trade at a pretty low cost.
Yeah, Alec Pierce, he's a big waiver wire pickup in fantasy this year, speedy guy. And who's playing quarterback for them? Is Phil Rivers coming back? Is it Anthony Richardson healthy? Oh, sorry, Daniel Jones led them. Yeah, he was awesome. Just looking around the signings here, like another receiver, Wan'Dale Robinson, big 4-year, $78 million contract with the Titans. See Travis Etienne, 4-year, $52 million with the Saints. Tyler Algier to the Arizona Cardinals, who also cut Kyler Murray. Some interesting signings around here that will affect the league. Also, fantasy, as you mentioned, Pittman and all.
Well, and a local connection with one of the signings as well today.
Yes, David Onyemata, former U of M Bison, played for the Saints and the Falcons, signing what is he signing with the New York Jets? I saw, although so now I'm seeing Falcons. I thought someone said Jets. I was gonna make a joke. He thought he was signing with the hometown team, but let me just confirm. Let me just confirm that.
What an awesome career Onyemata has cut out for himself. I mean, the average NFL career is like 2 years. I think this will be his third contract. I mean, he spent his 4 years with the Saints, signed that free agent deal with the Falcons, now moving on. What were the details?
Yeah, 1 year, $10.5 million with the Jets, 9.65 guaranteed. And I remember when he would come in studio with Brian Dobie, Huss at the old station, and talk about how, he came here, didn't really know a ton about football, and Brian Dobie saw him in the hall. He was like, you're coming to play.
Get in my office.
Yeah, pretty incredible, the career he's carved out in the NFL. How old is he now? Huss, 33 years old. Seems like he's just in studio leaving U of M.
That is so nuts. I mean, I always tried to do a bunch of Bison football stuff there because it's, love it. Obviously, an alumni, got ties to the program. But it's such a cool story. I mean, his entire story, coming over from Africa, showing up as just an exchange student, learning football, all of a sudden becoming, and I remember talking to the other players on the team. Like when he had his pro day here, a bunch of them were participating in it. And it speaks to the person that he is, of just how happy and excited all the other members of the team were that he was going to get his chance and opportunity. And now 33 years old, still doing it in the NFL, and 10.5 million reasons why he's going to be doing it again this year. Just looking at a couple of other ones. Marcus Mariota is staying with the Commanders. And then the other huge news, and this has sort of been forgotten already, but Friday night, Max Crosby traded to the Baltimore Ravens for first two rounders. And Connor, I don't know what Joe Burrow's life insurance premiums are, but I think they went up. I mean, playing for a franchise that has never really been able to protect their quarterback, their division opponents now, 6 of his games will feature either Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, or now Max Crosby. It could be another long season for Joe Cool.
Yeah, Huss, and like you said, the Bengals never invest in their O-line. Like, that's kind of their shtick, right? So, man, I feel bad for the guy because he's always injured. He's always leading the league in quarterback hits taken and all of that stuff. And now Max Crosby, one of the premier edge rushers in the entire National Football League, is also in his division to join Myles Garrett, who broke the sack record last year, and TJ Watt, who's been awesome for a very long time now, too. The other big news that caught my eye, Huss, is that with the Dolphins moving on from Tua Tagovailoa, they went out and got Malik Willis from the Green Bay Packers on a 3-year deal. That one's interesting to me because Willis stepped in for Jordan Love a number of times this season and played well. I'm just looking. He had like a 78% completion percentage, 9 touchdowns, no picks in, couple of games with Green Bay last year. So he's one of those dual threat mobile quarterbacks. And if he's not going to throw picks either, maybe this is someone that could work out for the Dolphins here. And they're taking a shot on a guy who didn't have the opportunity in Green Bay.
You know what? It's so funny. And Remis, you'll remember, like early on in the WST era, when we were talking about Malik Willis with the Titans, who got a few starts. Like, I remember coming on this show and going, like, how is this guy a quarterback? How was he picked as early as he was? He can't throw. Like, he's a fast guy, but was terrible. And I was as shocked as anyone as how good he has been in Green Bay. And it just goes to show, I mean, sometimes players, especially at that position, need a little bit of seasoning. He wasn't ready. He wasn't in a good situation with the Titans. Made the most of his time with Green Bay. worked with Matt LaFleur, got an opportunity, played well, and now he's going to 3 years, $67.5 million, $45 million fully guaranteed. As far as quarterbacks go, pretty nice deal for the for Miami. And listen, they're going to have, I can't remember what their dead cap number is from cutting Tua, but it's like $100 million or something like that. I think it might be the biggest ever in NFL history. So they were going to have to go with maybe a little bit of a cheaper option. I know that's hilarious for schmucks like us thinking that $67 million over 3 years is a cheaper option. But when you look at what quarterbacks are getting right now, that is it. But Reem, how about Mad Max going to the Ravens? I mean, that division, that's not a good place to be plying your trade behind a bad offensive line.
No, and shout out to Malik Willis. I picked him up off waivers to beat Darren in the final of the Winnipeg Media Fantasy Football League. He put up 31 points. So shout out to Malik. We'll see if this contract works out, Huss, or if it's I remember another backup QB who had a big final week of the regular season, got a fat contract, Matt Flynn, and it did not work out for him. We'll see about this one. But yeah, Max Crosby. What are the Raiders doing there, Huss? Are they trying to win at all? Like, they moved this team to Vegas and it is just absolute garbage, just banking on all the visiting fans.
Well, this is the Brady rebuild now. This is the Brady rebuild now. They've got the number 1 overall pick. They'll take Mendoza in all likelihood. And now they're going to be building around. They'll have multiple first rounders for the next couple years. And to be honest, I think it's sort of a prudent way to do it. I mean, Crosby is 29 years old. So, I mean, not old in real life, but, getting on the back end of his career. So, these next couple of years is really the prime. I mean, are the Raiders going to really be contending? No, not really. And he was always so loyal to Vegas. I mean, they could have traded him earlier. He never wanted to leave. But I think this year when they shut him down at the end of the year, he was really pissed off about that. And that was like, okay, maybe it's time. The crazy thing is he's got a massive Raiders tattoo on his arm. Like, I don't know whether he gets that. No, it's going to be kind of weird to be playing for another NFL team.
People do
still
it.
Special to him, I don't know.
I remember a baseball pitcher, Eric Milton was drafted by the Yankees. This is going way back, and he got a Yankees tattoo. He got traded to the Twins. He got a Twins tattoo. So you just get tattoos of all the teams you play. I don't know if Luke Shen's got tattoos of all 10 teams. There's guys out there who's played for Kevin Glenn. Does he just have every CFL team tattooed? But people do it.
The thing with Max is
he's running out of room.
I was about to say, there's no more room.
His whole body is a tattoo at this point.
To get a Ravens logo in. One other funny NFL story from the weekend before we get to the Cool Bet lines. Speaking of Joe Burrow, did you guys see who Joe Burrow was hanging out with late night in Vegas on Saturday?
I did see a picture, yeah.
Jessica Alba. This guy. I mean, obviously everyone had a lot of fun with it. But I did see today that so Joe Burrow spent the world spiraling playing late night blackjack with Jessica Alba in Vegas on Saturday night. And Jessica Alba, one of the most beautiful women on the planet, who just split with her husband a while ago. Obviously, this was getting a lot of traction. But her boyfriend, Danny Ramirez, made a point of doing a Instagram post today of a whole bunch of pictures of them together, just letting everyone know that Joe wasn't doing anything. Apparently, they were there for the release of some sort of a movie. What was it? The Zero Bond Vegas opening. So they were there for it. It was at the event, and they both sat down at a blackjack table. We're having a little fun. And listen, I'll just tell you this. If I saw a picture of my girlfriend or partner
with Joe Burrow
at a blackjack table with Joe Burrow at 2 a.m. Vegas, I mean, you would just naturally be very, very nervous. But busy day in the NFL. Lots of big moves. Kenneth Walker, let's get you to another Super Bowl this year. And Mike Evans. I love the signing for the Niners in that Evans is like the most reliable guy. Death taxes and Mike Evans with 1,000-yard season, even at his age. And that is a nice thing and a big loss for Tampa. But, when you think that, they've got Godwin, they drafted Mbuka, they've got some good young options. It seems that that's the way that it all worked out. All right, let's check the cool bet lines before we finish things up today, fellas. Heading over to the NHL. And once again, thank you to Coolbet for being the best book around when it comes to curling. I don't know how many of you rode with us on our For the Community, but Braden Calvert of Manitoba to make the playoffs, Matt Dunstone to be top 2. That one cashed before the final even happened yesterday. And then, of course, Matty Dunstone coming up big yesterday with his first Brier Championship. I think there's a few cool bettors from Manitoba that were in very good moods after yesterday. All right, what do we got here? The Kings and Blue Jackets game has started already?
Yeah, they had a 3:00 game. I remember, wasn't last week like the Red Wings were playing also?
The Preds.
At Monday at 3, they're trying to cater to Europe? I don't know why you'd have a Monday game.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, it was another Monday game. And I guess in Europe, that would be probably like 9 or 10 o'clock, which, isn't too bad for people to check it out. I'm just really disappointed because I wasn't able to bet on the Blue Jackets, which I've been doing basically ever since Bones. Blue Jackets and Buffalo, my auto picks, and it's been very good for the Coolbet account. Well, unfortunately, that game's already started, so we're going to have to go elsewhere. We got the Rangers and Flyers tonight. Flyers are minus 135 favorites. Calgary is in Washington. Caps minus 192. Like the under in this game. We're talking about that in the lock shop today with Dusty. I guess we'll all be cheering for the Blackhawks tonight. They're at home to the Utah Mammoth. Chicago plus 185 at home. Utah minus 222. And the Sens in Vancouver to take on the Canucks. That one could be a puck line. Lankinen was great on Saturday night. He's back in for Vancouver. Ottawa plus 105 to win by 2. Let's just take a quick look here at these futures. Avalanche are down to plus 250 after getting Kadri to win the cup. It's Carolina and Tampa next. Tampa's 5-1, Carolina plus 550. And it's hilarious that now you got Vegas and Edmonton 9 and 11-1. And Minnesota's gone down from 19-1 to 15-1. That Minnesota-Dallas series, guys, it's crazy that one of those teams is going to be out. And, I said this as much as it pains me to say it. I think the Minnesota Wild can win the Stanley Cup. I also think that they could be out in 5 or 6 games. And I got to tell you, there is nothing that would make me happier is that with all this hype, with all the big moves that Bill Guerin made, if Dallas can just take care of them in the first round, and it can be another year out in the first round for Minnesota, even with everything that they did this year, which to his credit was pretty darn admirable.
If you know anything about Minnesota sports, you'll know that it would be the most Minnesota thing ever for them to lose in the first round. You could add it to the 2 decades of sports misery there without a championship in the men's sports. They did win the PWHL championship recently, but the Wild, Twins, Vikings, T-Wolves, so much heartbreak. And yes, this would just add fuel to the fire if they lost in the first round.
I might need to put into a request to the fellas over at Coolbet because the Jets were taken off the to make the playoffs options when they were at 10-1. Now we might have to see what the line is on that. We'll see if they do something for tomorrow's game. I'm sure they can put that in before they play again. And yeah, tomorrow, big slate in the NHL, which we'll kind of get to. Nashville and Seattle, the big game tomorrow night when it comes to the playoff race. Of course, the Jets are going to be hosting Anaheim tomorrow of a big game day show. Utah is in Minnesota. We will be cheering for the Wild in that game. The Blues have been hot. They've won 4 in a row. They're home to the Islanders. Columbus at Tampa Bay. That should be a good one as well. And San Jose in to take on the juggernaut Buffalo Sabres, who will hope win again and make things a little interesting. LA in Boston tomorrow night. So a lot of scoreboard watching. And then, it's all these massive games. Remo, you're not going to be pleased, though. Wednesday and Friday, only 2 games in the NHL this week.
What? You know what? It's kind of nice to have. Is it an early game, late game, so you can at least watch primetime, or are they going to be both 6 o'clock?
Wednesday, they're both 6:30 games.
So dumb. This is the worst
and
scheduling.
Friday, 6.
Like, what are they doing? What are they doing, Huss? Like, why? Like, you got everyone playing on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and then 2 games. It doesn't make sense, but that's fine.
What it's coming down to is just that there's so many games. I mean, these teams playing. They're trying not to, I think, have, teams can't play 3 in a row. So it's just sort of like the whole league's playing on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And then the Jets back-to-back this week is Saturday, Sunday. There'll be a couple teams that go in back-to-back over the next little bit. But it's all there for you at CoolBet. One other thing, Remo, we should mention before we go, and I'm just looking right now at World Baseball Classic odds. Tonight, Venezuela, huge favorite over Nicaragua. Puerto Rico, big favorite over Cuba. Mexico and the USA playing tonight as well. Crushing loss for Canada against Panama yesterday. They were a big favorite. The game got away on them on the 6th inning. And to add insult to injury, we had to wait through a rain delay of about an hour in the 9th inning just to see Canada come back, get 1 run, and strand Josh Naylor on second, and not being able to get the run that they needed.
Yeah, I was watching that. It was tough that not winning. So they play Tuesday against Puerto Rico at 6. Cuba's the other team. I think they need to win. If they win both, they'll be okay. So we'll have to follow along here. WBC.
Big week on the PGA Tour. It's the players, all caps. We'll dive in. I know Patty and I will chop it up either on the show or we'll do a WST winner special over the next couple days with a whole bunch of picks. But if you do, like I do, love to bet golf, this is one of the best tournaments of the year to get in on. I mean, I know it's not the 5th major, but it's pretty damn close. And great play by a couple Canadians. AJ Ewart and Sudarshan Yelamaraju, they, on account of their play so far this year, are both in the players' field. So maybe we'll have to do a couple DK lineups with those guys on it. Scheffler, the favorite at CoolBet at 4-1. Rory at 12-1. Morikawa 16-1. Ludwig Oberg, Tommy Fleetwood, Siwoo Kim, all 22-1. Xander Schauffele, that is, 25. Russell Henley, Cam Young at 28. And then Victor Hovland, the chef, Minwoo Lee, Hideki Matsuyama, 33-1. And at 40, a group of golfers, including Akshay Bhatia, who won the Bay Hill yesterday, coming back and winning in a playoff over Daniel Berger. Get on over to CoolBet, folks. Again, if you're betting the WBC, make sure to go to the promos and just opt in, and you'll be eligible to win that trip to Toronto to see the Blue Jays. A bunch of other great promos up there as well, waiting for you over at CoolBet. Connor, any big picks tonight for the slate of NHL action?
Yeah, Huss. I mean, I this game right now that's on is interesting to me. I see LA just took a 1-0 lead, but Columbus has been so red hot that that's going to be an interesting one to monitor once we wrap the show here. And then Utah and Chicago, maybe not the most fascinating matchup, but I'm really interested in what Utah is going to do coming out of the break here with Mackenzie Weegar on their blue line. They've needed another top 4 piece. Like, they have Sergachev, they have Jersey, they have Marino, they have Simashev, who's a top 7 or top 5 pick in his draft, but he's young and he needs to come along as well. So their defense core is like on the verge of being awesome, and they added Mackenzie Weegar to it. We know the talent they have up front too. So Utah is going to be a team that I'm really monitoring down the stretch here, and we'll look at them. Hopefully the Jets can maybe catch them for wildcard 1, because we know wildcard 2, the prize waiting for you there is the Colorado Avalanche, who added Nazem Kadri as their third line center at the deadline and are plus 250 to win the whole Stanley Cup. So that's a pretty loaded group there. If the Jets make wildcard 2, that's what's waiting for them in the first round.
Waiters already said that the Avs are going to be the 2023 Boston Bruins. So okay, listen, it's been a great show. Thanks to all the super chats and everyone. And obviously, if you haven't played a Cool Bet, our great partners, use that promo code WST on your first deposit. We'll double it up to $200. Guys, special show today. I've been waiting for this. Should we do an unboxing of whatever I got, my season ticket gifts from the Jets today?
Definitely.
This is a nice plug. Jets have been taking good care of their season ticket holders the last couple of years. And I am trying to drink more water. I got this massive...
Holy, that is
this
sweet.
Massive mug, and it fits perfectly in my thing here. So while I did add a Diet Pepsi, I'm trying to take at least down one of these big things of water first, so I'm not slowly. So anyways, this is the box. Big thing that just showed up. I have not opened it. I'll move this mic a little bit over here. Let's see what we've got here from our friends at the Jets for their loyal season ticket holders, of which I am one. All right. Nice little thing. The cover. Now, what is this? This season ticket member. Oh, wow. Looks like an album.
Like a record?
This is nice. This is very nice. Check this out, Remo.
What is that? I saw someone post this on Facebook.
Yeah.
Was that a plaque does it have your name on it? What does it say?
No, it says, thank you for being a part of our Winnipeg Jets family. And it's got the 2 logos and a crested thing for season ticket member. It's got a nice shiny background. So you can stick that in a frame, put that on there. Originally when it came out, I thought it might have been a record album or something like that. And the package for tickets for next year's seats, which I'm already in on. All right, so we'll put this back in. There's more. There's more in the package right now. Okay, so that's that. Next piece. Oh, this is nice. This is like a print.
Oh, cool.
That is nice.
Print, and like on the back, it's like a wood frame, so you can hang this
nice.
up.
Hang it up. Nice.
Look very good on a kid's wall or something like that. So there it is, 15th season, featuring Helly, Captain Adam Lowry, and assistants Josh Morrissey and Mark Scheifele. You know, all this, by the way, speaking of Morrissey, I know we kind of mentioned this briefly earlier, but we spent a little bit more time appreciating the greatness of the highest scoring defenseman in Jets history with that OT winner on Saturday. Talk about doing it in style. Here we are. The Cole Perfetti 91 1.6 Cole Perfetti bobblehead. Very cool on the back.
Oh, that box is amazing.
Yeah, the box is the back, and then on this side, all the pictures.
Wow.
That's great. This is awesome. I'm not going to pull him out, but that is what it is, and the box is outstanding.
That box is sweet.
Oh, wow, look at this. I guess I picked this. This is a Jets.
Was that the cooler bag?
No, not a cooler bag. I got the cooler bag, I think, last year or the year before. But this is a nice sort of, like a bag that you take on a roadie, carry-on bag or something like that. Probably something they give a lot with the 15-year anniversary. So shout out to the Jets. A nice package for season ticket holders. And I will give a plug for 2 things. I mean, listen, we want that building to be full. If you're thinking about seats, you get 25% off, even if you're sharing. And I will tell you that 25% off, just beers alone, makes it a great.
Oh, Huss's mic cut out, Remo.
Oh, we lost him there? Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, we lost him.
Oh, we lost him. Well, that's a pretty cool box. And yeah, so people are asking where's Hustler going to be tomorrow. We'll be at the game. We had a great night out at WST night last Thursday against Tampa. Tampa really not showing up for that one. And we do have one more game the rest of the year that is against the Flyers. I believe that's on a Saturday towards the end of the season. Could it be an important game in terms of playoff spot? Well, they're going to have to win a bunch here. They're going to have to win a bunch. So if they want to make it a reality.
Oh, we got.
Okay, we're good now. As I turned off that code.
Okay, perfect. Let me just.
Okay, yeah, you're good now.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, geez. Only 2 tickets left, I think. Let's see here. How many seats do we have left? Okay. So, no, we've got some seats left. We got there's 16 seats, 5 in row 10. And that's this. I know our seats are in row 10, and we've got 11 in row 11. So, I mean, either way, there's been a lot of talk about the community today just with the 5-year anniversary. And by the way, expert work, that's exactly what I was going to mention. What a team we are. Just pick it up out and knew exactly where I was going with that. Whether the playoffs are even still a conversation or not is going to be a great sort of wrap up to the season for WSTers. So if you haven't made one of the games before, go over to winnipegjets.com/WST. 6:00 game on a Friday night against Philly. Should be a really fun night, and would love to have you join us. If you haven't been to one before, or if you've been to a few, let's do it up one more time. Try and get a win to finish it up. Just speaking of that Saturday night game, what an awesome atmosphere on Saturday night. Like, I know we joked about the Jets-Vancouver game coming out of the break, but I was also thinking about this game being okay, where things are at. It was packed. There was tons of juice in the crowd, and those cowboy hats they gave out were an excellent, excellent giveaway item. People really seemed to like that, and there was a good 5,000 people lined up ready to get in the building and get their hands on one when it opened as well. So, yeah, March 11th, our last game. Lots of hockey to be played this week before we get to April, and it all starts tomorrow with our program at 1 o'clock, and then puck drop tomorrow. Is it a regular time game, or is it?
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys about this. It's 7:30 puck drop tomorrow night. Do any of us have any idea why that is? I know the Jets used to do that for like 5 years when they initially came back, but there haven't been 7:30 puck drops in a long time. I was checking, like, Anaheim doesn't play tonight. Sometimes in the CBA, you can only play back-to-backs in a certain number of hours, but Anaheim doesn't play tonight, so that's not an issue.
You know what? I'll be honest. It just crossed my mind to check that because I was watching the Ducks game last night, and they had, next action in Winnipeg, and it said 6:30. And I'm like, 6:30? And then I said, okay, maybe they don't do daylight savings time, so we're only an hour difference. But that still meant a 7:30 start, which, again, there's not been. We've had 8:30s, we've had some 6:30s, we've had some 6s, but I think this is the first 7:30 of the game. I love 7:30 starts, to be honest. I think it gives more people time. It's great for the businesses downtown. That extra half hour to be able to serve a few more drinks or get people in to eat before is great. Who knows? Maybe they're testing it just to see kind of feedback from people. But a huge night in the NHL tomorrow, and we will be all over that before we go. Oh, well, while we're unboxing, we may as well do this. One other one. And Remis, I know you've got a take on this. I've got the NHL Star Stick from whatever, that McDonald's Hockey Hero burger.
Yeah.
Burger, not bad. I mean, like, it actually had a lot of good stuff. Not cheap, that's for sure. But here we have the NHL Star Stick. Who is it going to be? I saw my buddy Carter Chen calling out. Celebrini's the one that I want. Well, Quinn Hughes. Hate the Wild.
Oh.
So how do they have the Wild? Like, it's okay. This is my take on these things. Kind of neat. I'm sure kids will love this. It's kind of a weird, like, I guess everyone just has their own stick and they do a model of it. Like, whatever. There's been tons of great little hockey trinket giveaways in the past. But how in the world, Remis, does Samuel Montembeault get and is included for the NHL Star Sticks, and the freaking Hart Trophy winner, Connor Hellebuck, is shut out?
Yeah, I guess they wanted someone from Montreal, or they wanted a goalie. He was on Team Canada. I'm going to be honest, like, I don't really get the appeal of these sticks in the thing. They're really small. I don't know what you do with them. I like I'm still a stan for the hockey helmets they gave away in 1996, so I don't know how they selected the players. I guess they wanted someone from Montreal. I don't know. Montembeault.
I have some information. Connor Hellebuck has one. Like, McDonald's has done this in the past, and he's been on it before. So they could have done Hellebuck again, but I could walk downstairs right now and grab it. I have it. It's the Connor Hellebuck stick thing. Like, I don't think this is the first time McDonald's has done this. Yes. And Hellebuck, I can confirm he's had it in the past. But I get why you could maybe do it again, given the past couple of weeks here and how awesome he's played. But
I did not know that.
Yes.
Well, there you go. Quinn Hughes.
Quinn Hughes still doesn't doesn't really make sense. Like, for a Canadian audience, he's an American on Team USA who plays for the Wild.
Well,
like, I don't know.
Well, they probably came up with it so far in advance. Isn't it Quinn Hughes on Vancouver in the picture?
No, he's on Minnesota in the picture.
No.
Sure,
Yeah,
right?
that's the thing. Yeah. They
turned
really? It around, even with the trade, which was quite impressive.
I don't know why they're.
His son loves the stick. Oh, and they had a heli stick a year ago. I guess I just missed on that.
Oh, Will Sutton in chat saying Hellebuck was a Tim's stick. Maybe it was Tim Hortons. That's a good point.
Here's the sticks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he is a Minnesota. Yeah, these team choices I find interesting. Like, why not someone from the Jets? Yeah, why is Quinn Hughes on there if he's still in Minnesota?
I guess they probably signed a deal to have him.
Yeah,
and Winnipeg gets overlooked, even though the freaking MVP was on the team. Although, I guess, is it Makar or McKinnon?
It's Makar.
And there's a McDavid.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, notice who's not in there. McKinnon and Crosby. So I think probably the guys,
they're
like
Tim
the
Hortons.
lines are drawn. Are you a Tim Hortons guy or are you a McDonald's guy? So those guys don't do it. And I guess if Hellebuck did the Tim's stick, he's
McDonald's counters with Sam Montembeault.
Montembeault. Like, how do you not have Nick Suzuki as the Hab? Like, I get wanting to have a Hab, but Montembeault was a surprise.
Will Sutton says in chat, the picture on the box is Quinn Hughes on Vancouver, and then on this ad, he's on Minnesota.
Not on my box.
Oh, you have a real one. Okay, so Will Sutton Hustler's got one. Hey, I didn't realize that you had the mini stick.
Well, what the hell do you think I was just opening?
Oh, I don't know. I think you guys were just talking about it. We're vibing.
Are you serious? 5 years in, there's still a lot of stuff that will fly.
I was Googling it. I was looking around. Look, I don't care about these sticks. I don't understand the appeal of them. It's a toothpick. What do you do with it? I don't get it.
That's an amazing WST moment.
Give me the helmet.
The unboxing. You did not.
I tuned out for it. I tuned out for it. I was I was here for the unboxing of the season ticket and thinking about what a great Instagram reel I'm gonna make from it, because we had such fire ones over the weekend from the trade deadline, and then I started thinking about the time change. How are you affected from the time change? Not at all. Like, people are whining about the time change. Do not care.
People are still waiters. Remo hasn't changed his clocks yet. He'll notice that in an hour. Yeah, and Remo had a shower. He hasn't had any mid-show showers at any point lately. But yeah. Anyways, we should get this podcast up. Long show today, and got a hoodie winner coming by to grab his thing, which should be right about now. Boys, great stuff. Here's to 5 and many more great years. Thanks again to everyone. All the super chats, you guys are incredibly generous. All the comments, all the love, and thanks to all the sponsors that allow us to be able to do this for you all each and every day. A very fun show today. Thanks to John Shannon. Thanks to Hammer. And, of course, Connor and my man, Michael Remis, and all of you. We are back at it tomorrow. We'll have Connor with the latest from the Jets. Don't forget to follow us on socials. Game day reports have been great for the latest, everything you need to know heading into the game that night. And we're starting 4-6, big weekend. Can the Jets get back into it? We'll see starting tomorrow. The Ducks are in town. 7:30 game. We'll be live at 1 p.m. right here on Winnipeg Sports Talk on YouTube. We will see you then. Have a great Monday night. We'll catch you tomorrow here on Winnipeg Sports Talk to start another 5 years of the show. Have a great
Oh, my God. Oh! Shut it down. Let's go home.
Thanks for tuning in to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast feed at winnipegsportstalk.com.